We are at the Allianz Arena, home of the mighty Bayern Munich. Oh, how will Bayern react after losing to Arsenal in the Champions League on Wednesday? The visitors at the Allianz Arena today are St. Pauli from Hamburg, who have lost their last 8 Bundesliga games. As usual, we'll be keeping you up to date with all the Bundesliga's African players. I'm Alex Sisto. Stay tuned for all the action.
And with Alex Sisto here in our studios in Bonn, Germany, it's me, Kai Nebe. So a big hello to all of you. As you know, the Bundesliga has kicked off its 63rd season. There was a big game last night between Borussia Mönchengladbach and second-placed Leipzig. And that game ended in a, well, I'd say, Alex, perhaps sort of a stale 0-0 draw, unfortunately. So not much gain for either side, but not a too bad a result, especially if you're a Mönchengladbach fan. And yes, of course, today we're talking about Bayern Munich and their big loss in the Champions League against Arsenal at the Emirates. That was a milestone because it was the first game they'd lost in 18 matches. Bayern's opponents today, St. Pauli, have had a total of 6 seasons in the Bundesliga throughout their entire history. And last season they finished quite a surprisingly high 14th, and they were never really in any danger of relegation. But at the moment, as you said, Alex, 8 losses on the trot for St. Pauli. They're certainly in danger of relegation right now.
St. Pauli, the team from Hamburg, just 7 points, 9 goals scored, 21 conceded. It's very tight in the table down there. St. Pauli are in the relegation playoff place in 16th, just 1 point ahead of Mainz and 2 points off bottom-placed Heidenheim. Bayern Munich have lost only 2 of their 18 Bundesliga encounters with St. Pauli, but tend to usually struggle to break them down. Time for the lineups. Let's start off with the home team, Bayern Munich. In goal, Manuel Neuer. Bayern playing with a back 4 as usual. Konrad Laimer is the right back. The central defenders are Min-Jae Kim and Jonathan Tah. And in the left back position is young Tom Bischoff. The holding midfielders are Joshua Kimmich and Alexander Pavlovic. Up front, it's the new whiz kid Leonard Karl on the right wing. Rafael Guerreiro strangely coming into play just behind Harry Kane. And on the wing, on the left-hand side, is Luis Diaz, back after his suspension in the Champions League. He must be rested. And, of course, up front, Harry Kane. What about St. Pauli?
Well, before we get into the St. Pauli lineup, Alex, I think we've got a big announcement here to make. And it's a return of a club legend to Bayern Munich.
Indeed, it is Kingsley Coman, the Frenchman, who now plays in the Saudi League for Al Nassr. And he has come back, and they're giving him a really big send-off here for the first time since his departure. Kingsley Coman, the French international, the man who scored the winning goal against PSG in the 2019 Champions League final. Kingsley Coman, one of the former favourites here, the Bayern big brass out there. Max Eberle, the sporting director, giving him a hug.
Well, Alex, of course, it's a bit of an understatement to say he's a club legend. He's literally, I think, one of the most decorated players in all of Bayern's history.
9 titles, 9 Bundesliga titles, Kingsley Coman.
And I think it was a total of about 20 titles in all when he played for Bayern Munich, because they also won a whole lot of cups. And obviously, as you mentioned, the Champions League. And Kingsley Coman, I think he was also special because of the fact he kind of took over the role from Arjen Robben, or as a winger.
Yeah.
You know, he took over the mantle and had a very, very successful career. It's so good to see this gesture from Bayern Munich. Then I think it's time we get onto the lineup from the visitors, St. Pauli. In goal, we've got Bosnian keeper Nikola Vasilj. On the right back position, they're playing 3 at the back, Alex. It's Hauke Wahl, Eric Smith in central defense, Karol Metz on the left back position. And then they've got 5 across the middle. It's going to be interesting to see how they manage to take on Bayern. Lars Ritzke on the left wing side. Jackson Irvine, the Australian captain, in the center, in a sort of a central midfield position, backed up by James Sands, Joel Chima Fujita. And on the right side, we've got Arkadiusz Pirka. And then on the 2 strikers who probably won't have all that much to do today, but hopefully they'll be able to hold up the ball, is Andreas Huntonji and Matthias Pereira Lage, Alex.
St. Pauli, well, I just wonder what's going through their heads. They know they're on the hiding to nothing here. But I tell you, last season, there were very narrow 1-goal victories for Bayern against St. Pauli. 1-0 in Hamburg for Bayern, and a very tight 3-2 win for Bayern at the Allianz. So they were no pushovers, but considering they've lost 8 games, their chances won't be too high. But Bayern Munich, they want to prove that they're back after their first defeat of the season on Wednesday against Arsenal at the Emirates. What a game that was. Bayern's last defeat was at the Club World Cup when they lost to Paris Saint-Germain, and 18 games unbeaten, and then came Arsenal. So their high press didn't work at the Emirates on Wednesday, and off we go. Bayern playing from left to right.
Yeah, in their customary red, and St. Pauli in their customary black.
So it's a full house here at the Allianz Arena, which is good to see. Whenever Bayern play, it is a full house. Now, the worrying thing from a Bayern point of view, Kai, is they've conceded 7 goals in their last 3 games. That is 3 against Arsenal on Wednesday, 2 against Freiburg last week, and 2 against Union Berlin a couple of weeks ago. So that makes very unfamiliar reading. 7 goals conceded for Bayern, and the German media picking a little bit on Manuel Neuer. They say he was at 4-3 consecutive games now.
Well, I mean, that is true that some of those questions were leveled, but I think one has to understand the context that Bayern also scored a few goals in that.
Yes.
They certainly scored more goals apart from the game against Arsenal there.
Yes, 2-2 it was against Union Berlin a few weeks ago, and then a convincing...
How could we forget that goal that Luis Diaz scored against Union Berlin, though?
Yeah,
that was
a brilliant goal with a very late equaliser coming from Harry Kane. 2-2 that one finished. That's the first time they dropped points. And then, of course, last week they beat Freiburg 6-2 after going 2-0 down. Here come Bayern Munich, trying to get down the wing, and the ball picked up by Mr. St. Pauli himself, Jackson Irvine. He's the captain. He's Australian of Scottish heritage. Tell us a little bit about him, Kai.
Well, right now he's just been fouled by another youngster, let's say Leonard Carl, who I think wanted to make up for the fact he lost the ball there. Yeah, Jackson Irvine plays, of course, also for the Australian national team, who we will, and it's cool because we'll be able to see him play at the World Cup, or assuming he doesn't get any injuries. He was a very big fan of St. Pauli even before he joined the club. He says, he told media recently that he identifies a lot with the social issues and the social standings that the club of St. Pauli stands for. You can see he's also loved by the fans. Fans love him in St. Pauli. But this also, Alex, is something that is quite interesting about St. Pauli, is that even though he's like a Bundesliga player, he still goes to his neighborhood and is able to walk around there without a high detailed security team. And it also just talks about sort of love that St. Pauli has for its players.
Yes, and he looks St. Pauli. He's got long hair and tides behind his head. Looks like a pirate. Jackson Irvine, a real character who embodies basically the club's rebellious fan culture of St. Pauli. A very special club. Their symbol is the pirate skull and crossbones, showing their...
And they play in all black.
And they play in all black, sometimes in brown, showing their outsider spirit. And the club's known for fighting discrimination, promoting equality. They've never won any big trophies, but they're famous worldwide, I think, for their values, and a very nice club, let's put it this way.
Of course, they make up one of the 2 Hamburg clubs, the other one being, of course, Hamburger SV.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a big rivalry there. St. Pauli has perhaps had the upper edge of the Hamburg rivalry in the last few years, I would say. We remember that Hamburg was in the doldrums of German football for a while. St. Pauli, well, because they're a small club, probably are always going to be the perennial underdogs, Alex.
They will be, yeah. Here comes Lima. This is Leonard Karl. Good ball. Plays the ball to Lima. Good save by Vasily. Falls to Pavlovic. And Pavlovic over the crossbar. That was the first positive move by Bayern. Their high press will work today, even though it didn't at the Emirates. I mean, Arsenal, they caused havoc in the Bayern Munich box in the Champions League, and Max Eberle, the sporting director, said it's difficult to defend against chaos, the chaos which Arsenal created, especially in the second half. I think Bayern were on par in the first half, but they were suffocated by Arsenal in the second half, especially after the hour mark. It was an amazing performance.
Well, not just that. I think it was definitely a case of Arsenal playing really well and winning the game rather than Bayern playing badly. The difference was also pretty clear in the speed at which Arsenal was playing. Manuel Neuer for the third goal completely caught out when he came to try and clear a ball and was caught way out of his box. And Arsenal were able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, that goal on Instagram, in case any of you want to see it. Loads of scenes from that game. And Leonard Karl, of course.
Oh, he scored an absolute peach of a goal,
He scored, and it was a brilliant ball by Kimmich. Here comes out Pauli, and the move breaks down, though. And Min-jae Kim on the ball, picks it up. He and Jonathan Tah are the central defenders today, with Upamecano given a rest. The ball picked up by Bayern. St. Pauli trying to press with Jackson.
And they do.
Opportunity here for Untonji. Untonji, chance for St. Pauli. And they scored! Would you believe? Andreas Untonji, the Benin striker, and the supporters who've come all the way down from Hamburg, exploding. Now, this is really amazing, Kai. This is the 8th goal that Bayern have conceded in 4 matches. That is a poor goal to concede, and Andreas Untonji, the Benin striker, he's going to enjoy that goal. 1-0 to St. Pauli at the Allianz Arena.
And this is certainly a goal that Bayern would love to have back, because they lose the ball not once, not twice, but 3 times here.
Lima caught napping on the ball. It was a brilliant pass to Untonji, who caught
Min-jae Kim like flat-footed.
Flat-footed, and Neuer flat-footed. A great goal by Untonji, shoulder to shoulder there with Min-jae Kim, but he was too strong for the defender, and St. Pauli, against all odds, take the lead. Bayern won't be too upset, because they were 2-0 down against Freiburg last week and still came away with a 6-2 victory, but that is a moment for St. Pauli to treasure. Andreas Untonji puts the underdogs 1-0 up.
Well, there is a bad side to this, Alex, and that's that Bayern Munich have 85 minutes still to get an equalizer. That's the only issue.
Precisely.
But I think St. Pauli very happy to have opened the scoring. Certainly livens up the game and gives those travelling fans something to cheer about. I think you're right, though, about the defensive frailties that Bayern showed there. It's quite surprising that just happened.
And they've scored at last. That's the important thing. St. Pauli have scored a goal, and they'll celebrate that. So let me just tell you about the other games. Kai told you about Mönchengladbach-Leipzig last night. That finished 0-0. Werder Bremen, they play FC Cologne. Union Berlin face Heidenheim. And Hoffenheim take on Augsburg, and the late kickoff is Leverkusen against Borussia Dortmund.
And stick around, because later we'll be discussing that match in more depth. So don't go away. We'll be chatting about that, giving you a good preview for that one. And on that, just a reminder to all our listeners listening to us from across the African continent. We're so happy for your company across Nigeria, across Southern Africa, East Africa. We're always glad to have you. Shout out to our partners, Ray Power FM in Nigeria, of course, who's also carrying this match.
Yes, greetings to all our African listeners. We love to know you're there. And
Oh,
here
dear.
is Luis Diaz. Strong run by Diaz. Tries to play the ball across, and there's Jackson Irvine defending, helping out the St. Pauli captain. Luis Diaz will be fresh because he didn't play against the Arsenal. He was suspended for that foul on Hakimi.
Hakimi, exactly, yeah.
And so he'll be fresh, and that'll be a big worry for the St. Pauli defence. It's a corner to Bayern Munich. Over on that far side, that is the St. Pauli left. The Bayern left. This is Joshua Kimmich to take the corner. It's a good one. In it comes, headed away though firmly by Karol Metz, the Estonian central defender, and a chance for St. Pauli to go forward once more. This is Andreas Huntonji. Jackson Irvine. They're playing the ball around with a lot of confidence, Kai. Are you surprised?
I'm a bit surprised here, but coming into this game, I guess as you rightly said, St. Pauli haven't scored very much. I don't think there's a whole lot of pressure on them to actually come and win this game. Last season, they were extremely good because they simply refused to allow any goals, which is why they had a lot of good results. They scored many either, but they were much better defensively last season. This season, they've been shipping quite a few more goals, Alex. And I think that'll be the number one thing, is to try and keep this high-powered, juggernaut of a Bayern attack out. And remember, Bayern Munich still on the bench, have still got Nicholas Jackson.
Right.
And obviously Serge Gnabry and Michael Olise, who didn't make the starting lineup, which I found quite surprising. But
well, he needs to be rested, of course, Olise. And he was quite pale against Arsenal, Olise, amazingly.
Yeah.
You just mentioned Serge Gnabry there, Kai. He scored against all the other Bundesliga sides except St. Pauli.
Well, maybe he'll come on later to sort of get that one back. But that's a surprising stat. So every single club in the Bundesliga has had Serge Gnabry score against them. Wow.
Yep, except St. Pauli. So let's see what happens. The thing is, of course, how do St. Pauli deal with this situation? They weren't expecting to be with a 1-0 lead.
Inside 5 minutes. Yeah.
Inside 5 minutes. Are they going to defend it? Are they going to try and go forward? This upsets their game plan, doesn't it?
It is a bit. It does upset Bayern's game plan. It also upsets St. Pauli because they can't defend for 80 minutes.
Exactly.
That might be too much to ask. So I think we will. I think this could be still quite an open game, though.
This is Luis Diaz. On that far side, Bayern trying to take on too many defenders there, and St. Pauli, well, are keeping a cool head at the back there, and they're playing quite well.
Well, Alex, I think it's also key to notice that St. Pauli have put 5 guys across the middle, with only 3 defenders.
Very true. They're playing 5 in midfield, so that should give them more stability, especially with Lars Ritzka and Arkadiusz Pürka, the 2 wide players. That should give them a bit more stability at the back. Karol Metz, Eric Smith and Hauke Wahl are the defenders. The ball played back to Vasily, the Bosnian keeper, and St. Pauli trying to launch another attack.
I see there was quite a nonchalant playing out from the back. They don't seem to be jittery, do they?
No, they don't seem to be overawed. They are, after all, here at the Allianz Arena. And
so, Alex, there's also quite an interesting story between Bayern Munich and St. Pauli, because they would be perhaps what you would maybe refer to as frenemies in a way, because in the early 2000s, St. Pauli was actually going through some financial difficulties.
Very true.
And they got quite a lot of support from Uli Hoeneß and Bayern Munich to remain sort of liquid as a club. Otherwise, they would have been forced to, well, they were relegated that season, but also would have been forced to drop down 2 divisions rather than just 1. In fact, I believe it was Uli Hoeneß who organized sort of a fundraising game for St. Pauli, where all the proceeds went to their
that's a charming story, isn't it? But Uli Hoeneß helping out a smaller club in desperate need. Well, that was St. Pauli, and that certainly helped them. I mean, they're a very special club, as you said, for being the eternal underdogs St.
Yeah.
Pauli. The smaller team from Hamburg, doing a little bit better than their big neighbours, Hamburger SV. But let's see what happens now.
Well, this is not looking good. Huntonji, the goal scorer, is on the pitch.
Oh, he seems to have pulled the hamstring.
And he's clutching his hamstring.
That is, of course, tough. Andreas Huntonji, good striker. This was his 4th goal this season. He scored in the first 3 Bundesliga games at the beginning of the season. And now he's done it again. That's 4 goals for the man from Benin. And he goes down. I think he'll have to be substituted. That is, of course, tough luck for St. Pauli, the team from Hamburg. And founded in 1910. The football roots go back to 1899. They play at the Milan Tor, small stadium now near the Reeperbahn nightlife district. And punks and artists and outsiders shape the club's fan culture. As I told you, the skull and crossbones, that's the pirate flag, is their symbol, and a very special club. They are, however, yet to earn a point away from Hamburg this term.
Yeah, and that Militär Stadium in St. Pauli is actually a suburb of Hamburg, which it's well known for being a very raucous stadium, even though it's actually quite small by Bundesliga standards.
And when they take the pitch, Kai, they come out to the music of AC/DC.
Of course they do. The rock band. And I think that would suit Captain Jackson Irvine just fine, because he too is Australian. They have another Aussie, by the way, on the bench, Connor Metcalf.
Yeah.
He's on the bench for the St. Pauli team. And the fact that we also have an Estonian playing for them.
Very unusual.
Very unusual.
Estonian in the Bundesliga. Welcome to Karol Metz, central defender, signed from Zurich. Let's see. I'll tell you what, Kai, I haven't seen Harry Kane yet.
Is he on the pitch?
He is on the pitch.
Oh, I
didn't see him against Arsenal either. He had a very, very quiet game against Arsenal, and they booed him, of course, because
of course they would. It's Arsenal.
Yeah, they used to play for Tottenham, Harry Kane, the big rivals.
Yeah.
And here is Lennart Karl trying to get the ball in. It's picked up here by Min-Jae Kim. He finds Tar. Tar finds Pavlovic. Pavlovic plays it out to the right to Konrad Laimer. Laimer finds Pavlovic. Pavlovic on the ball, trying to find a space to shoot. Tries to slip the ball in, but it's picked up once more by Kim. Kim back to Pavlovic. Pavlovic finds Lennart Karl. Small, darting movements. Brilliant footballer. This is Laimer trying to get the ball in. Bayern pressing with 3. Now that's going to work in the end, I tell you. The Bayern press is so high, so difficult to stop. Here is Jonathan Tah. Tah on the ball, lays it across to Lennart Karl. What a player there. He's only 17 and he already looks a very exciting prospect. Lennart Karl scored at the Emirates against Arsenal in that 3-1 defeat on Wednesday. Here is Lennart Karl again. Small darting movements. He plays the ball back to Min-Jae Kim. Kim back to Karl. This is
I mean, really, you have to look at this, though, that St. Pauli literally have every single player behind the ball. I can't tell if Huntonji is back on the pitch or if they are only playing with 10 men.
I think he's still receiving treatment. Not really sure, Kai.
It's hard to... He's definitely not on the pitch. But I don't know if that means that there's a substitution coming. In fact, there's a whistle right now.
Yeah. So Metz puts the ball out for a corner, and here is the substitute coming on for
Daniel Sinani.
Daniel Sinani, who is a Luxembourg player.
Another interesting one.
Yeah, he's a Luxembourg player with Serbian roots. Used to play for Norwich City. Very disappointing, of course, for Andreas Huntonji, but he'll have enjoyed that goal, and that's probably something he won't forget in a rush.
He has made his impact so far, that's for sure. And actually Harry Kane does appear here, but it's Min-Jae Kim that sort of miscues his shot, and it goes out for a goal kick for St. Pauli. Yeah, this will be might be a feature of this game, Alex. We're seeing all the defenders of St. Pauli really trying to stop it, and it could also be a very interesting test for Bayern Munich to see how well they can break down a St. Pauli team, because they're very different to how Arsenal played, that's for sure.
Very true, but I'd say that Bayern are usually accustomed to playing against mass defences. It's just a matter of time till they wear them down, and when St. Pauli begin to tire, that's when the goals will come. That's what I say, yeah?
Yeah.
So Kane, though, kept anonymous against Arsenal, and he's been kept anonymous here against St. Pauli too, and
but that's only been 20 minutes, so
it's only 20 minutes.
We'll give him a bit longer.
This is Bischoff trying to move upfield, and Rafael Guerrero playing in a very unusual central position.
I was going to ask you about that, Alex.
Very, very strange, because he's usually a left back, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or he plays in defensive midfield positions. But to play him just behind Harry Kane,
almost in a number 10 position.
Is almost in a number 10 position. That is very surprising, and I wonder what Vincent Kompany was thinking.
Because there'd be more obvious candidates like Leon Goretzka for that
Yeah,
role.
and I think Bayern would have done very well with Leon Goretzka on Wednesday, because Arsenal basically swept them aside. The physicality of Arsenal was far too much for Bayern in the second half, and I think they would have needed somebody physical like Leon Goretzka.
Well, and experienced.
Yeah,
like
and experienced. And I don't think Pavlovic and Kimmich were strong enough physically in midfield to keep Arsenal at bay in that second half. After 60 minutes, they basically folded Bayern Munich, and Kimmich and Pavlovic were really not a strong enough shield for the back four.
Well, to be honest, it wasn't just Bayern Munich that battled against Premier League opposition in that way. It could have been Barcelona, who were really put to the sword by Chelsea.
3-0 to Chelsea.
And Chelsea were just way too fast.
Yeah.
Way too fast for Barcelona.
Estevao is the new big star.
Another teenager, Alex.
Yeah, Brazilian teenager Estevao. What a signing he's been. He's been making headlines just as much as Leonard Karl has been making headlines in Germany. And here he is on the ball once more. Leonard Karl, he always looks as if he can make something happen. Plays the ball back to Min-Jae Kim. Kim to his left, finds Tar. Bayern, all in red. Beautiful green pitch. Cool afternoon, perfect for football here at the Allianz Arena in Munich. But the scoreline is anything but perfect for Bayern, because St. Pauli are the team who are in the lead. The goal was scored by Benin striker Andreas Untonci, who sadly had to go off after injuring his hamstring. And as we told you, Daniel Sinani is on the Luxembourg international with the Serbian roots. This is good cross here, and that was a fine header over the crossbar, but St. Pauli doing very well to stop the attacks. This is Konrad Leimer, plays the ball again to Leonard Karl. Leonard Karl pulling the strings in midfield, Guy.
From his right wing position, I'm also surprised to see that, yeah.
Slipping into central positions there. And he's sure to pick out Harry Kane very soon. Here comes Fujita, the Nigerian with Japanese roots. Man who signed for St. Ruden in Belgium. Here comes St. Pauli. This is Fujita on the ball. Can he find his striker?
Well, for the first time, St. Pauli have the ball in Bayern's half for a little bit of time, which gives their defenders a little bit of respite. Just a quick look across the Bundesliga as we go along. Werder Bremen are winning against Cologne. 1-0, they just scored there. And Hoffenheim, Alex, are now beating Augsburg.
1-0. Marco Friedl, the scorer there for Werder Bremen against Cologne. Cologne, this would be their third successive defeat. They're beginning to slip down the table, I can tell you that. And they'll have to take care. 2 straight defeats mean Cologne return to action in 10th place. But this would be a 3rd straight loss, and victory over Cologne today would mark the first time Werder Bremen have won 4 consecutive Bundesliga home games. So plenty of records waiting to be broken there for Werder Bremen. Ball picked up by Bayern. This is Leonard Karl. Oh, he hits the post. He bent it. He bent it beautifully, but it hit the post. Leonard Karl showing all his talent. Brilliant ball. Brilliant ball.
And the referee has blown an offside here because Harry Kane, I believe it's Harry Kane who was actually in offside position. No, it was Pavlovic in an offside position. But that would have counted had Leonard Carl managed to get in. It's a bit of a broken play. The ball pops out to Leonard Carl and he whips in an unbelievable left-footed drive that almost goes right into the top corner. Goalkeeper really,
would have been beaten there, the keeper.
He was beaten. He was very thankful for his post over there, I can tell you, was Nikola Vasilj.
Let me tell you who the referee is today. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. It's 44-year-old real estate agent and FIFA referee Felix Zweier, one of the most important, best-known referees in Germany. Felix Zweier, who incidentally was the referee of the Champions League clash between Paris Saint-Germain and Spurs on Wednesday. Felix Zweier today is his 253rd Bundesliga game.
Well, that was an interesting one for Felix Zweier. That game between PSG and Tottenham was also quite an entertaining match.
8 goals there. 5-3 PSG winning in the end there. What a game that was. Oh, the Champions League provided some fantastic football. My favourite competition.
Well, not if you're a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, well, this is really amazing what's going on there, really. It's absolutely amazing. You just wonder how long the coach Arne Slot can hang on to his position.
Well, we've been singing, just one thing, we've been singing the praises of Leonard Carl. He just makes a very schoolboy error with a throw in here. He makes a foul throw, which is something we don't see that often. And thankfully, St. Pauli have the ball back. But Leonard Carl is back with the ball on his feet and basically tormenting the defense again, but his cross goes in and it beats everybody, except for Luis Diaz, who now goes from the left wing side.
Luis Diaz, fresh legs, of course, and it's picked up by St. Pauli, who've not looked intimidated at all. They lead here, the tiny club from Hamburg. 25 minutes gone at the Allianz Arena, and it's St. Pauli who are 1-0 up. Here is Jackson Irvine, the captain, the Australian with the long hair, looks like a pirate, and what could be more fitting if you play for St. Pauli to look like a pirate? An amazing club. Throw-in taken by St. Pauli. Lars Ritzka, that is, the left wing back. And they're beginning to take that time. Kai,
it's a bit early to be playing for time.
It's a bit early to be playing for time, but let me put it this way. Bayern not too intimidating, are they?
Not right now. They haven't. I mean, actually, if we were looking at the stats, Alex, while you were talking, actually, Bayern, you know, they've had a fair amount of the ball, but they haven't registered a shot on target so far, except for that one post that Leonard Carl managed to hit. But they haven't looked like that incisive, I guess.
No. Strange days for Bayern, this.
I mean, they're dominating possession by almost a factor of 80% to 20%, Alex.
Well, that's no surprise. But Hoffenheim have now gone 2-0 up. It was Touré, Banzumala Touré, who put them 1-0 up in the 16th minute. The Ivorian, and now Woutburger, the Dutchman Woutburger, has made it 2-0. Hoffenheim 2, Augsburg 0. Augsburg really struggling there, and it's going to be a difficult season. Hoffenheim, they've gone 5 matches in a row without defeat. They're in form. And Augsburg coach Sandro Wagner is celebrating his 38th birthday today. Happy birthday to him from the commentary position. Augsburg, they went 5 games without a win, but they ended that run with a precious 1-0 victory against Hamburg last week. But they're only 3 points off the relegation playoff place, and they are struggling badly at Hoffenheim. 2-0 there for Hoffenheim, who are, at the moment as it stands, up to 4th, would you believe? Hoffenheim, let me distinguish again, Hoffenheim are not Heidenheim. Heidenheim at the bottom of the table. Hoffenheim, the much stronger club. They've been in the Bundesliga for some time. That was a heavy tackle on Leonard Carl. He took a painful challenge there.
He did take a painful challenge, but I'm a bit upset. If I'm a St. Pauli player, I'm a bit upset because he did win all of the ball here, did Karol Metz.
Karol Metz, the Stony. He did, you're right, Kai. He went through the ball there. And Alexander Blessin, the St. Pauli coach, furious that the referee's decision went against his side. But Where is Harry Kane? Here is Harry Kane. Opportunity for Kane. Good effort. Whistles past the post.
You asked where he was, and there was Harry
exactly.
Kane. He doesn't always need very much, does Harry Kane, to make a big difference. He's a very clinical striker.
14 goals in the Bundesliga, Harry Kane, and 24 goals in 18 games, competitive games across all competitions this season. Almost scoring there.
Yeah. Linking up again with Luis Diaz, that's become like a dreaded duo for the Bundesliga when those two line up against you.
Yeah, very true.
But he drags the shot a little bit wide, does Harry Kane. But he's definitely on the pitch now, Alex. We know that for sure.
He's there. Vincent Kompany pacing up and down the line there. He'll be worried that half of the 8 Bundesliga goals, 9 actually now, that Bayern have conceded have come from set pieces. Bayern's weakness at set pieces is very well known.
Well, it was also exploited again by Arsenal, who, as we know, are very good at set pieces.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, their strength at set pieces was a real factor in the run-up to the game. And Vincent Kompany in the aftermath was saying that it is very difficult to play against a team like Arsenal, which can hurt you in so many different ways.
Yes, but of course Arsenal were quite offended when the media kept pointing out that they're strong at set pieces, because their second and third goal came from open play, not from set pieces. The first goal was from a corner, but the second and third goal came from open play, and Felix Zweier blowing the whistle there.
Well, it's a handball here against Bayern Munich, and you could just get the feeling that Bayern things are just not really clicking that nicely. Harry Kane whining about it to the referee, and Felix Zweier saying, well, he touched the ball with his hand. What do you want me to do?
Exactly.
To blow it.
Exactly. Werder Bremen still 1-0 up against Cologne. Plenty of players of African descent there. Victor Boniface. Opportunity here for St. Pauli. St. Pauli on the ball. Lays it back.
Well,
Jackson trying his luck. Picked up by Fujita. Fujita finds Jackson. But Bayern living dangerously there, very dangerously, and the cry from the terraces is St. Pauli, St. Pauli.
Yes.
Who
Wow.
would have believed that? Who would have thought that? Listen to that, the away support, louder than the Bayern Munich supporters there. And long ball forward for Bayern Munich, and it's Luis Diaz chasing that long ball, but good work by Pirka.
Really good work.
Arkadiusz Pirka, the Polish right winger there, plays the ball forward. I was just telling you about the players of African descent playing for Werder Bremen. Victor Boniface, of course, Karim Koulibaly. Victor Boniface, the Nigerian, I needn't tell you. Karim Koulibaly, he's German-French Ivorian. Then they've got Isaac Schmidt, he's a Swiss father and a Nigerian mother. Skelly Alvero, he's French-Angolan and Democratic Republic of Congo, of course. And Justin Njima, he's a German-Nigerian, and a man who's making a big name for himself this season in the Bundesliga is the Belgian-Congolese striker Samuel Mbangula. So Werder Bremen 1-0 up there. Cologne with Linton Miner, he's a German-Kenyan. Neo Telly, he's a German-Cameroonian. And, of course, Ragnar Ache, he's a German-Ghanaian. So plenty of players of African descent in the squads there. Back to the Allianz Arena, it is St. Pauli with a slender lead, but it is a lead, surprisingly, against Bayern Munich. 15 minutes to go in this first half. And let me remind you that it was Andreas Untonji, the man who got the goal for St. Pauli. He sadly had to go off injured. And if we look at the fastest players in the game after 30 minutes, it is Eric Smith, the Swedish player, over 30 kilometers an hour. And almost hitting 30 an hour is Andreas Huntonji, who sadly went off. So where are the Bayern players? The ball picked up by Jackson Irvine. Here come St. Pauli once more. Irvine concedes possession, though, and it's Luis Diaz making a nuisance of himself down that left-hand side, as will be expected of him. Nikola Vasili, the Bosnian keeper of St. Pauli, plays the ball upfield, but it's picked up by Bayern. Well, they've got to keep their nerve. They were 2-0 down last week against Freiburg. They won that game 6-2. Some of you might have listened in last week.
Yeah, they went 2-0 down, but they did score 6 unanswered goals.
Absolutely.
No.
and it was, of course, a phase where Freiburg tired dramatically and conceded goal after goal.
I think almost every half of the Bayern team got on the score sheet there. Nicholas Jackson as well scoring.
Nicholas Jackson, 4 goals for Bayern, 2 in the Bundesliga, 2 in the Champions League. The Senegalese striker looking forward to the World Cup, of course, Nicholas Jackson. And we wish him well for the rest of his career here in the Bundesliga. But as it stands, it looks as if though he might be returning to Chelsea in the summer, but he's certainly having a good spell here at Bayern and enjoying himself very much.
I would say perhaps he's a little bit unlucky in a way that is not to say he's unlucky in the grand scheme of Bayern Munich, but I think it would have helped his cause if Leonard Karl had not emerged as such a factor.
Very true.
In the Bundesliga.
Surprise place taken there by Leonard Karl. He's in the side again today. The ball played forward to Harry Kane, but the ball bouncing around dangerously there, and mistakes beginning to creep in. The ball played, and it comes off the crossbar.
Ooh,
Second time that Bayern hit the woodwork, and it was Tom Bischoff, the young man who signed from Hoffenheim. He's usually a midfielder, but he's playing in the left-back position today. Now, I just wonder why Rafael Guerreiro, who's on the pitch too, isn't in the left-back position. But there you go. Vincent Kompany will be able to tell you that. But that's the second time that the woodwork
has been rattled.
St. Pauli.
But this one was a far less obvious one. It came off a number of deflections, actually, as it made its way to the goal. And again, the poor keeper, Vasilj, was completely wrong-footed. He wouldn't have got anywhere near that. But luckily for him and St. Pauli, it remained out.
So far, so good for St. Pauli. Difficult to believe. They've lost their last 8 games in the Bundesliga, but they're 1-0 up here. Long way to go, of course, but Alexander Blesin's team have certainly not put a foot wrong today here. Saved by the woodwork twice, though, we have to say.
Ooh, wow. Look at how the fans are getting into this game. Wow. And here we see the deflection. Yeah, just a big... Yeah. He was well beaten, was Vasilj, and Tim Bischoff very unlucky with that one, actually.
St. Pauli 1-0 up, would you believe? On Sunday, we've got Hamburg against Stuttgart. Hamburg, the big club from Hamburg. St. Pauli, the little club from Hamburg. On Sunday, we've also got Frankfurt against the Wolves and Freiburg against Mainz. Opportunity here for St. Pauli. This is Pirker, the Pole, plays the ball across. Too many Bayern defenders, though, getting back. And Pavlovic doing very well. And the ball played all the way back to Nikola Vasili.
They win it back, though, to St. Pauli. But Bayern can get it back again. And this is where it's dangerous for St. Pauli. If they get caught too high up, then you have a man like Diaz running the other way.
Diaz taking on 2 or 3 defenders, but the defenders doing very well. You saw Harry Kane there in the playmaker's position. A good pass that was from the centre circle out to the left, trying to pick out Luis Diaz. He'll know he'll be full of running today. And Jackson Irvine has taken knock, and he's the last player St. Pauli would want to lose here.
No, certainly not.
It was a strong challenge by Min Jae Kim, and he seems to have hurt his foot, Jackson Irvine. They won't want to lose their captain. They've already lost Andreas Untonji, the man who scored the goal here. Let's hope for St. Pauli's sake that Jackson Irvine will remain on the pitch. He seems to be okay, gets up. And
mustachioed captain is on his feet again. That's good for them to see.
He looks like a rock star, doesn't he, Kai? A very untypical footballer. Here come Bayern once more. The ball played in, and it's a chance, but well blocked by St. Pauli, well blocked by Vasili. And Leonard Karl has been all over the place. He's so full of energy, enjoying his football, the youngster, and has impressed so many people in Germany that a lot of saying he should be part of the Germany squad that goes to the World Cup. Do you agree?
Well, he's 17 years old, and I thought it was interesting, his comments before the game against Arsenal. He was asked about that, how he gets the confidence to play the way he does, and he basically said, well, I'm just not scared of my opponents. And he didn't mean that in a disrespectful way, because he is playing on a team of legends, but also against a lot of highly respected footballers. But for a youngster, he certainly has a lot of poise, certainly doesn't seem overwrought at all, because he knows he can play football, and play football he does.
Indeed. Here's Jonathan Tah and Pavlovic. Surely Bayern want an equaliser before half-time. They will want at least the equaliser before half-time, because they're 1-0 down. Would you believe it? They're one of the smallest teams in the Bundesliga. Pauli from Hamburg.
But to answer your question, Alex, if he will make the German squad, I think that would be a tough ask for him to actually make the German team, especially in that position, because he has enough competition for that position just in Bayern Munich alone from German internationals like Serge Gnabry. And if he would make that for Germany, well, I'm not too sure, Alex. I think that especially if someone like Jamal Musiala manages to make a comeback before then, I don't think Leonard Carl will be it. But you never know.
You never know. He might be the wild card that Germany need. They've got good players, but the team as a whole, they've been okay. And I think it's...
you mean the German national team?
The German national team, yeah. Karol Metz, the Estonian, picking up a yellow card there for a foul, and it's a free kick to Bayern Munich just outside the box. Harry Kane takes it, and it's just over the crossbar there. Good free kick by Harry Kane there. I thought it was going in, Kai.
Certainly, whistles just above the crossbar, but actually on replay you see it does go over it, and the goalkeeper
tipping a little bit too late. Harry Kane, of course, no shots against Arsenal's defence, which was without Brazilian Gabriel. So he had a very quiet game, Harry Kane. He'll have to turn on the style if he wants to add to his 14 Bundesliga goals this season. And the Bundesliga, of course, is where Bayern have excelled. They've won it, or they've won the title 33 times in Germany. That is something amazing. Bayern, champions of Germany for 33 times. And Uli Hoeneß, the Bayern CEO, was asked how the Bundesliga could become more exciting again. And
what did he say, Alex?
He gave a very controversial answer. He said, sooner or later, the 50+1 rule in Germany has to go. Now, the 50+1 rule says that football clubs in Germany must own more than half of their team. That means the club must keep 51% of the voting rights. That means outside investors can own parts of the club, but they can't control it. The rule is meant to protect fans and tradition, so clubs are not completely taken over by a rich owner, and that, of course, scares off a lot of rich investors. If they buy a club, they want the whole club and not just
parts of it. But of course, that prospect is something that definitely does scare German football fans, because this is how the fan culture of German football is very different to that of other clubs. I don't think many German football fans particularly envy the style you have in the Premier League, for instance, or France.
Well, I just wonder if they'd really be upset if a billionaire owner came in and poured money into the club. Well, I guess we can see they would be upset, but it's probably something they get accustomed to in the end. But
well, Alex, I don't know. I'm not too sure about that. I mean, in effect, that's been the case already for RB Leipzig, Hoffenheim too,
Wolfsburg, Bayer Leverkusen. They've all got massive enterprises behind them. Wolfsburg have got Volkswagen, Bayer Leverkusen, the pharmaceutical company Bayer. So that they're met with a lot of resistance in Germany. But I mean, if you had a millionaire owner pouring billions into your club, surely that's an exciting thought too.
No, certainly. But the question is, of course, then, you know, there are, of course, other things that come up with that. For example, you have accusations of sports washing potentially in the Premier League. Ticket prices are really, really expensive, and it becomes almost like a corporate vehicle than the club rather than something owned by the fans, which I do think is something special about German football as we know it.
Very low ticket prices.
That's true, Alex. You don't pay 300 quid to attend a Bundesliga
I mean,
game.
I think that's something that the Champions League has to change, is the high ticket
Oh,
prices.
danger
Opportunity here. Was he tripped? And it's the equaliser for Bayern Munich just before half-time. And it's Luis Diaz who scores 1-1.
Yeah, and Luis Diaz, of course it would be Luis Diaz who's been lurking behind the St. Pauli defense, and here he actually gets onto a rebound. It's a bit of a weird play. The hands all went up in the box over an alleged foul, and I guess it was again Leonard Carl who was making a nuisance of himself, but doesn't matter. It's 1-1 now for...
And the equaliser coming cruelly just before half-time. Let's watch the replay. Actually, it was Rafael Guerreiro who got the ball into the back of the net, because it was Diaz who played it to him as he fell, and it looks as if Diaz hit it past the keeper, but it fell to Guerreiro, and
actually a very good pass here by... Well, there's your Alex. There's your answer. Why is Rafael Guerreiro playing in the central midfield position?
Exactly. He gets the equaliser, and that's cruel on St. Pauli.
Oh, it's so cruel. Yeah.
Just before half-time, here comes Leonard Carl once more, and now the Allianz Arena, as you hear, has exploded. 1-1, and they've scored, and so they should against Little St. Pauli. Joshua Kimmich plays the ball to his left, finds Tar. Knowing Bayern, they'll probably take the lead just before half-time.
Yeah, that is cruel though, Alex. On the 45th minute.
Football can be very cruel. Here's Pavlovic, finds Kane. Kane lays it to his right, to Jonathan Tar. Jonathan Tar finds Min Jae Kim. It's Guerreiro's second Bundesliga goal this season. And Bayern looking invigorated by that goal. 1-1. Normal time is up, and let's see how many minutes of added time we'll have. We probably have quite a substantial amount because of the injury to Huntonji, where he took some treatment, needed some treatment there, and I'll tell you in a few seconds how long the added time will be here in this first half.
It's 1 minute of added time.
1 minute of added time. Yeah. Okay. So
Bayern claiming a handball here, but no referee is not interested at all.
And you can hear the drum beating, which can be rather testing for the commentators.
Yeah, our ears are getting hammered.
Absolutely, but I'll tell you who the best drum beater is. It's Union Berlin, Stadion an der Alten Försterei. They got several drums there. And,
they hammer them, that's for sure.
They hammer them, and they've got one here, and he can be heard all over the place. 2 minutes of added time here at the Allianz Arena. That was a foul again on Sinani, I think it was. No, actually it is Matias Pereira Lage, the Portuguese-French player there, who joined from Stade Brest in Ligue 1. Let's see what they can do, St. Pauli. Let's see what they can do in the final minutes of this first half. The St. Pauli player's gone down injured. So...
and the ball comes in here. Maybe another chance for them to get another shot away here. The shot does come in, but it's blocked straight away. Still not completely cleared. Shot now again, blocked again. They're going to have one more goal.
Goodness me, 3 consecutive shots coming off the St. Pauli defenders there. And now there's a Bayern Munich player down. That is Pavlovic, who seems to have taken a knock in the face from the ball. And
I'm not too sure what the referees are, why the players are complaining, because Pavlovic got a ball in the face there, but really touched the ball with his hand. Referee looks at his watch. He's going to let this play out a little bit more. It's a throw into St. Pauli.
Goodness me, they had 3 consecutive shots which were beaten down by Bayern. I mean, this game certainly doesn't seem to be over.
No,
because St. Pauli have proved tough opponents, would you believe? Raising that game incredibly.
Ball comes in again here.
Lots of teams raise that game when they play Bayern.
Now the referee has given us the half.
There goes the half-time whistle. Union Berlin, they've taken the lead against Heidenheim. It is Union Berlin 1, Heidenheim 0. And Rani Khedira scoring again. He scored the winner against St. Pauli last week. And Hoffenheim are now 3-0 up against struggling Augsburg. And it is goals by Touré, Burger and Sesiga. An own goal there for Augsburg. Hoffenheim 3, Augsburg 0. Over to you, Kai.
Yeah, and just to add one more there, Werder Bremen still beating Cologne 1-0. And that will be that for the half-time scores. But don't go away. We've got an interesting half-time show coming up. We'll hear from coaches. We'll hear from the players as well of who did well of the German teams in this week's quite frantic European week in the Conference League, the Europa League, and of course we won't be leaving anything out about the Champions League. See you just now.
Bundesliga Radio live.
Welcome to the Bundesliga halftime show. It's been an interesting half of football at the Allianz Arena and across the Bundesliga. But for this halftime show, we're going to take a look at how Germany's teams did across the competitions over the course of this week. There were certainly highs and lows, and I guess we'll start off in the Conference League, where Mainz were in action against Romanian outfit Universitate Craiova, where Mainz unfortunately went down 1-0. German teams did a little better in the Europa League, Europe's second-tier continental competition, where Stuttgart ran out 4-0 winners against a Dutch team Go Ahead Eagles. Jamie Leveling, of course, scoring a brace there, which means that Stuttgart are up to 12th in the standings. Meanwhile, Freiburg, who are so far unbeaten in Europe, they drew 0-0 with Czech Republic club Viktoria Plzeň, which was a bit of a disappointment for the southern German team, who are also having quite a tough time of it in the Bundesliga. But it was in the Champions League where the emotions ran hottest and the results were most surprising, for a number of reasons, and we'll get into them just now. But let's start with Eintracht Frankfurt, who endured a torrid second half where 5 minutes sank them. Italian visitors Atalanta from Bergamo, in fairness, they dominated proceedings in Frankfurt's home building, and while the scores were locked at 0-0 on the 60th minute, by the 65th minute, it was 3-0 Atalanta. Nigerian striker Ademola Lookman opened the scoring, and the Italians never really looked back. It leaves Frankfurt with just 4 points from 5 games in the Champions League. However, it was a very different feeling at home for Borussia Dortmund, who returned to winning ways in the Champions League with a crushing 4-0 demolition of Villarreal. Sekou Guirassy scored twice, one from a spot kick, which he had to put in the rebound, and Karim Adeyemi and Daniel Svensson also got onto the score sheet in a comprehensive win for Niko Kovac's team. But it was the clashes between the German clubs and the British clubs that drew most of the eyes, applause, and of course, not least, a bit of nail-biting. The first was billed as a clash between the best of the best, unbeaten against unbeaten, and elite versus elite. It was Arsenal against Bayern in London, and for the first time this season, the Bavarians tasted defeat.
First of all, I have to congratulate the opponent, Arsenal, and I think in the end a deserved win for them.
That's Bayern coach Vincent Kompany, who has plenty of experience of coming to the Emirates Stadium as a player and a coach from his time at Manchester City and Burnley.
The first half felt like it felt to me like we could edge it. In the first half, you can't keep a team like Arsenal without threat for an entire game. But I felt that we had many. I think we had many reasons to go back in at halftime and think, okay, if we come out second half and we improve a few things, we can edge it and we can bring it home. But it didn't happen, and they came out with I think more purpose, more sharpness on the simple things in the game. You know, of course they've got always the set plays to shift momentum. They use it also very well to control the momentum of a game. But at the same time, in in the things we did better in the first half, we just allowed them to gain control of too many phases of play.
Bayern never gave up in the 3-1 loss, but in the end, Arsenal just had an extra gear. And as so many teams have found out, Arsenal's set-piece play is, at times, well, unplayable.
I want to balance it on purpose. What I want to say is, I'll give an example. I don't know how many goals we've scored. 50, 60 since the start of August. As difficult as it is to prepare to defend against us, it's how difficult it is to prepare to defend set pieces against them. That's they've got every other aspect of the game as well, but that's something that they master more than anybody else. But you don't go into this game thinking, okay, you know what, this is their game, and let's try and defend what they've got. Let's just try and defend what they've got to bring. You want to bring what you can bring, and I think we were able to do that in the first half, which is why I was like, okay, it balances each other out. But we weren't able to balance it out anymore in the second half. It was too much resistance rather than trying to, hurt them.
But Coach Vincent Kompany remained circumspect of the result in the wider context of the season.
I don't think any of us want to be the best team in November. So we're trying to, like I say, use everything now to build our season towards being there in the important moments. Their momentum continues, but for us it's something where, okay, we get to show how we react now, and we get to show how this one will make us improve. The answers will come, but not everything within the minute now.
Despite the loss in London, there were, of course, some bright sparks. There was more great play from 17-year-old Leonard Karl, who is quickly making a name for himself this season, who drove home arguably the finest team goal of this year's Champions League.
I think it matters for us that the first half was sort of a good first half away from home against a team like Arsenal. And then obviously that goal sort of shows what we are capable of doing. But I think this game will matter and this game will count if we acknowledge what we need to improve and use it to build from that. So I want to make this game count. I want to make sure that by the time hopefully we can compete in March and April still in many competitions, that this game is a game where you look back and say, that's why we're able to do it now, you know?
Well, if it was a disappointing evening for the German champions, it was a euphoric one for Bayer Leverkusen. Playing away to Manchester City, the star-studded lineup marshaled by former Bayern coach Pep Guardiola, there was only ever going to be one winner. Until Leverkusen flipped the script at the Etihad Stadium in Manchester with a 2-0 away win.
A difficult place to play, and first of all, of course, we are so happy with this win, but not only the win, also the character the team showed. I have great respect for the players, for the team.
That's Leverkusen's Danish coach Kasper Hjulmand.
We are building a team here, and I think this night is a night to remember, and I think it's fuel for our development. We did very well, played with a lot of courage, a lot of calm on the ball, and tried to play our game as much as possible. Of course, we had moments where we need a little bit luck and a very good keeper tonight. But at the end of the day, I'm very proud of the team and the way we played. And the 3 points in this tournament here in City is not something you can expect, but we did very, very well. And I'm very, very proud of the team effort tonight. Thank you.
While City did name an irregular starting 11, it still boasted Omar Mamouche, Tijani Reinders, and a host of other big guns. And when they didn't fire, not even the introduction of Erling Haaland could wrestle the game away from Leverkusen. It also boosted Leverkusen's place in the standings and is a huge injection of confidence in the Werkself, which is also steaming up the Bundesliga table.
It looks better than 2 games ago. Huh? We had a win in Benfica, and now here in Manchester City, 2 very difficult places to play. So it looks better, but it's still a very complicated tournament. But of course, in Champions League, it looks better now. and we're optimistic, and we believe in it. A game like this tonight and the one in Lisbon, of course, gives us a lot of confidence, and but it's more about the way we want to play and the quality in the team, that it's clear for everyone that we have this quality and we can still learn a lot and do even better. So I think that's the most important thing, and then we'll take it game by game.
Remember, Leverkusen have a massive game ahead this evening at home to regional rivals Dortmund. That'll do it for the halftime show. We'll head straight back to the action at Allianz Arena in southern Germany. Don't go away.
Bundesliga Radio. Live.
And welcome back to the Allianz Arena here in Munich, southern Germany, where it's still half time and a lot of fans are contemplating what to make of this match. We've pretty much had it all. We've had injuries, we've had goals, we've had Bayern going behind, we've had Bayern managing to get a goal back. We saw the St. Pauli team show a whole lot of fight and a lot of resistance. But will that be enough? Alex Sisto has just walked into the studio. Alex, will it be enough? Have we seen enough fight from St. Pauli to think that maybe they can get something out of this match?
I doubt it, Kai, because we've seen teams put in a good performance in the first half and then collapse in the second half. And I'm afraid the same's going to happen to St. Pauli now. When they begin to tire, Bayern will be ruthless.
So that's Alex Sisto being the optimist that he is for St. Pauli's chances. Well, you know who isn't sharing your opinion, Alex, is those raucous fans from St. Pauli who traveled all the way to southern Germany in the Allianz Arena and I think should be quite happy with how their team has played so far.
They'll be absolutely thrilled. I mean, their side scored, and it's not too often that St. Pauli score. And they scored here at the Allianz Arena 1-0 when Andreas Huntonji, the Benin striker, put his side 1-0 up. But then just before half-time, it was Rafael Guerrero, after some good work by Luis Diaz, who swept the ball into the net. Guerrero surprising us and playing in a central position just behind Harry Kane, as we see Michael Olise warming up. Do you think we're going to see him, Kai?
Well, I'd be surprised. I don't think he'd be warming up if he's got absolutely no plans of playing. He certainly... Although I don't know who he'd be replacing, to be honest. I wouldn't say... Maybe Leonard Carl, maybe he's going to come off a bit early because they don't want to overrun him at the moment. He's played a lot of football in the last few games.
Very true. They can't burden the youngster with so much, let's put it this way, with so much responsibility, with so much football. Good player, and one for the future. One who's flourished maybe a little bit early, but I was also wondering about Manuel Neuer and the decision to keep him in goal, because he didn't look too good against Arsenal. Some newspapers suggesting it was 2 mistakes by Neuer. Not really sure. Okay, maybe the third one when Gabriel Martinelli scored, when he came way out of his goal, basically to the centre circle, and Martinelli just raced past him. That maybe have been a mistake. But
a lot of people have been beaten for pace by Gabriel Martinelli.
Yeah,
for sure.
Jonas Orbig is a very good keeper, so he's basically set to take over from Manuel Neuer, I guess, in the end. But I don't think it was Neuer's mistakes. I think there were too many individual errors in defence by Bayern Munich against Arsenal that led to that 3-1 defeat. And now what can St. Pauli do with the little possession they'll have in the second half? That's going to be really interesting. They'll have to be very organised at the back and maybe not open up too much, because then Bayern will eat them up. Yeah.
And as we're speaking about Bayern, we see the men in red walking down the stairways onto the pitch. They don't look rattled. They look like they know they've got a job to do. They need to get a goal here and they need to win the game. As we see lots of the younger fans, lots of young and older fans You know, some of these fans in Germany, particularly for Bayern Munich, Alex, I think they were raised in the crib in the Olympiastadion, as it was then known, and now the Allianz Arena.
Yeah.
So there's lifelong fans of Bayern Munich here.
St. Pauli will be happy to have Jackson Irvine back in the side. He made his first start last week since April. Good to see him back in the side, and he's been good. I think he's been a real inspiration for St. Pauli, battling away Jackson Irvine, the Australian there. And Utonji, as we told you, 3 goals in his first 3 games. He got another today, that makes 4, but he's off. And 8 defeats for St. Pauli after a brilliant start, winning their first 3 games. But it's 1-1 here, and it's interesting to see what St. Pauli will do in the second half.
Well, one thing we will see is there are going to be changes, Alex, already now. And I wonder if that's because of injuries, because Michael Olise is coming on. He's getting ready to play, and I'm wondering who they're going to take off here.
Well, Leonard Carl seems to be still on the pitch. We can tell you in a minute. We'll tell you in a minute. There seems to be some movement there on the bench.
I can only imagine this has got to do with some injury, surely, because I wouldn't say that any of the Bayern players have played that badly to be subbed at halftime, right?
No. I haven't seen any new player on the pitch. Well, there's Olise. He's definitely coming on, Michael Olise, the Frenchman. And, of course, we've got Wisdom Mike. He's a young Nigerian on the bench. And we've got Nicholas Jackson. He's a Senegalese striker. He's on the bench. But on comes Michael Olise for the second half. He was rested a little bit, but I can't really tell you who he's come on for. I'll tell you in a minute. Off we go. Bayern now playing from right to left as St. Pauli try to get the ball moving. Jackson Irvine tackling Guerrero there. And
you know who's come off, and this is going to make it even more surprising, Alex, and I do think this is injury related. It's Konrad Laimer who's come off.
Okay.
Konrad Laimer being a right back.
Okay, so Olise is very much a striker, so I guess that Rafael Guerrero will slip into defence.
Well,
and
he's done his job, hasn't he?
he's done his job. He's scored, and he's been very versatile, and he slips back into defence now. Possibly, I mean, he's a left back, but he's in the right back position, I would think. We'll just have to wait and see how this pans out. But Michael Olise on for the injured Bayern player,
Konrad
Laimer. It has to be injury related, I would think. You never know. Maybe he didn't have a good game. But Konrad Laimer, the Austrian, off Austria, also looking forward to the World Cup, of course.
It's the first time, it's quite surprising. It's the first time Austria have been at the World Cup in more than a generation, Alex.
Yeah, they've got a good side made up of mostly Bundesliga players.
A lot of, and then they've also got David Alaba.
They've got Alaba.
Former, obviously, Bayern legend as well.
Yeah, and Ralf Rangnick doing very well.
We've got Marcel Sabitzer as well.
Plenty of players. Yeah, plenty of players from the Bundesliga. Here come Bayern. This is Harry Kane. Lays the ball to his left. Finds Guerrero. Guerrero going forward. Olise. Good ball into the penalty area there. Beautifully stopped by Carl. A lovely 1-2 between Diaz and Carl, and the ball played out for the corner to Bayern Munich. Pirkai was there, and Bischoff joining in. It was Tom Bischoff in that attack.
Well, Alex, if you want to say anything, it certainly wasn't a defensive change, was it? Bringing on Olise for Konrad Laimer.
No. You can't blame him for being defensive-minded.
No.
Corner to Bayern Munich to be taken from the right-hand side.
Just a delay here because it's Olise.
Olise pulling up his stockings, and the referee having a word with him. Don't really know what is happening there, but the corner is going to be taken 1-1 the scoreline here at the Allianz Arena between Bayern Munich and St. Pauli. It's match day 12 of the Bundesliga. In comes the corner, headed across the face of the goal. It's picked up by that man, Rafael Guerrero, on that far side. He finds Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz stumbling and gives the ball away, but St. Pauli unable to keep possession. And here come Bayern Munich once more. Over that far side, Bischoff finds Olise. Olise back to Bischoff. Young Tom Bischoff, the man who signed from Hoffenheim. There's Joshua Kimmich, whose brilliant pass of the Emirates led to the...
It was beautiful.
It led to Gnabry playing the ball to Leonard Karl, who scored the equaliser there. That was probably Bayern's best moment in the 90 minutes. There's Olise, plenty of space. You don't give Olise space and not get punished for it, for that.
Well, in this case, they're able to block the ball as St. Pauli, and it ends up at the feet of Coach Blessen, who I think must have been quite happy with what he'd seen of his team, but I think he was also disappointed to have gone in on equal terms with Bayern rather than 1-0 to the good there.
Here comes Luis Diaz, taking on the defender, decides to play it to Bischoff, but Bischoff's back heel was too nonchalant, and it comes away, and it's Min-jae Kim.
Min-jae Kim, of course, another player who will be representing South Korea most likely at the World Cup, so that's going to be exciting. In fact, most of these Bayern players are probably going to be
all going to be
at
the World Cup. Most of them, even Manuel Neuer, and I say even because he has officially retired, of course, from the Germany squad. But plenty of people saying he should be Germany's number one, but he maintains that he's made his decision, but you never know come the summer. Here comes St. Pauli, finding plenty of space. Good work by St. Pauli. Good work by St. Pauli.
They win a corner.
Chima Fujita, that was the Japanese Nigerian.
Well, Alex, this is quite funny. He couldn't believe how much space was opening up. He just kept running and running at the goal. And until basically, I think it was Olise who managed to get a boot in to stop him, and it goes out for a corner. But this is the first corner of the match for St. Pauli, and a good opportunity for them to perhaps spend some time in the Bayern Munich half. See what those Bayern Munich defenders have gotten them.
They can take their time for the corner to get their breath. It's going to be a corner from the left-hand side. It's a good one into the penalty area. Headed across back, and it almost fell to a St. Pauli player standing on the D, but St. Pauli doing very well to try and stop the counter-attack there. Here they come once more.
A bit of a wasted shot
wasted effort there by James Sand. He's an American midfielder.
Probably also going to be at the World Cup for
possibly
the United States country.
Here come Bayern, building from the back with Kimmich. Kimmich finds Min-jae Kim. Kim finds Pavlovic. Pavlovic out to Tom Bischoff, who's joining the attack quite often now. The ball played back to Pavlovic. Pavlovic finds Min-jae Kim in the centre circle. Bayern's high press beginning to take effect here. They've not done it too much in the first half, but I'm sure that Vincent Kompany must have told them what he wants. And Bayern's high press is so difficult to play against.
Certainly a very big challenge for any club. But we'll see. So far, the St. Pauli defense has managed to hold firm. I say that knowing that a commentator's curse is probably imminent right now, so I hope that doesn't come in straight away. St. Pauli still looking rigid. Looking across the Bundesliga, Alex, not too much has changed in terms of scoreline. Still 3-0 for Hoffenheim against Augsburg. Union Berlin still beating Heidenheim, and Werder Bremen still ahead against Cologne.
1-0 to Werder Bremen there.
Exactly.
Hoffenheim with the most goals today.
Yeah.
5 matches in a row without defeat for Hoffenheim. Not bad at all.
Oh my goodness.
Olise
all sorts of
gets
issues.
to the byline, and it's a corner to Bayern. And there you saw the silky skills of Michael Olise.
Yeah. And look at these smooth feet. He goes 1, 2, 3, almost a fourth defender, but Karol Metz, the big Estonian, able to stop him in his tracks there.
It's a corner to Bayern over that far side. That's the Bayern right, taken by Olise into the penalty area. Headed away, though, by Jackson Irvine. Picked up by
No, Diaz.
Diaz, of course, battling for possession, does very well, and he's barged off the ball there. Play on, says the referee, and play on, says the referee again, much to the anger of the supporters.
I think Luis Diaz was fouled about 3 times.
Yeah,
but
he got up each time, much to his credit.
And the referee kept playing advantage until Pauli finally won the ball fairly.
Yeah.
But that was not to the Bayern fans' liking.
Tom Bischoff trying to get the ball into the penalty area, wins the throw, taken quickly. Bayern beginning to turn up the speed now, Kai. Yeah. I expect St. Pauli to begin to have problems at the back.
Ooh, almost, but Nicola Vasil is able to snag that one out of thin air, and here comes St. Pauli, trying to get the ball upfield a little bit.
St. Pauli on the ball.
The problem is when they lose possession...
Gave it away very quickly, and this is of course what happens when you begin to tire at the Allianz Arena. You're going to start conceding goals. Jonathan Tah plays the ball to his left, finds Luis Diaz. Diaz finds Bischoff. Bischoff joining the attack so often now. Here is Josper Kimmich. Kimmich on the ball. Plays the ball to his right, finds Olise. Olise goes round the defender with ease, absolute ease. What? Ritzka unable to stop Olise there. He went round him twice. Lars Ritzka unable to stop him.
Yeah, he came back for round 2 almost. Oh, but St. Pauli able to push the ball upfield. They're not really running after these loose balls. They're allowing Bayern to build from the back. I think it's also a question of exhaustion. It's now the 55th minute. St. Pauli are able to hopefully hold on a bit longer here.
And of course, a lot will depend on St. Pauli's strikers if they help out in defence. This is what modern football's all about. The strikers have to be very defensive-minded when called upon. They've got, for instance, Joel Shima Fujita, the Nigerian-Japanese player, born in Tokyo. His father is a Nigerian and his mother is Japanese, and he chose to represent Japan internationally.
So he might also be at the World Cup, Alex.
He might be at the World Cup. Fujita has made 10 appearances with 1 assist, but no goals yet in the Bundesliga. Very active defensively, and that's what Alexander Blestin will be happy to see. 93 tackles he's made, and he covers a lot of ground. Joel Shima Fujita, 109 kilometres on average, which is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, St. Pauli, 1-1. That is the big news from the Bundesliga. St. Pauli holding Bayern 1-1, and it's really sensational. I mean, if Bayern don't win here, that will send shockwaves all around Germany, because Bayern and St. Pauli, well, that doesn't really match.
No.
But it's just a matter of time for Bayern score. I don't want to be too nasty to St. Pauli, but I just wonder how long they can keep up the... And it's all a matter of concentration, isn't it, Kai? It's not just physicality and stamina. You've got to remain concentrated, switched on the whole time.
Yeah, certainly. And it'll be also quite interesting to see when St. Pauli do make any subs, because their positioning and their tactics have so far worked quite well, and as soon as you add in more different players, it might not be quite as straightforward.
Been a very fair game, I must say. Here's Tom Bischoff. Tom Bischoff lays it across to Diaz. Diaz plays the ball in, appeals for handball here, but the referee doesn't want to know. There is Olise on that far side, and he wins a corner for Bayern.
Yep, goes in for a corner, and the referee telling them, says, I can't see this. He will say, wait until I get a message from the VAR to see if there should have been a handball. So I do believe that's been checked right now. I think the referee has been very clear about this, and he's given it as a corner. Means there's probably not been any message from VAR to say that should be looked at again.
Bayern is the cry from the terraces, and it's a corner to be taken by Olise from that right-hand side.
Ooh.
And that sailed across the face of the goal and missed everybody. It was put out of play, And it's another corner to Bayern Munich, I think, from the other side. I didn't really see any handball there, quite frankly.
It may have brushed the fingertips of the defender as it bounced past him, but I think he would have
desperate attempts by Bayern.
Yeah.
Surely they're going to get a goal without that. Corner to be taken from the left-hand side from Bayern. Uprise the red shirts.
Min-jae Kim there, almost getting on the end of that.
Picked up by Olise, but St. Pauli doing very well. This is Fujita. Oh, what skills by Fujita. Clever back heel. Jackson Irvine tries to release his strikers there. Matias Pereira Lage, the Portuguese-French player. And the move, though, breaks down. And St. Pauli mustn't give the ball away so easily and try any fancy stuff. But we're nearing the hour mark, and if anybody had told us, Kai, before the game...
Oh, wow!
That was very close. Offside, though. If anybody had told us before the game that at the hour mark it would still be 1-1, I don't think we would have believed that.
Well, this was an almost goal by Luis Diaz. He sort of tries to aim for a cross, but there's nobody back home, but the referee blows it belatedly for offside, so he wouldn't have counted had it gone in. But always a danger is Luis Diaz, no matter where he is on the pitch, by the looks of things. He's got so much energy. It must be an absolute nightmare for any fullback to play against.
St. Pauli, can they keep possession for a little bit of time? The ball played downfield.
Played into space here, but Sinani won't catch that. Goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, you see, this is the problem. They can't keep possession long enough. This is what happened to Freiburg last week. They were unable to keep possession in the second half and invited Bayern to score time and time again. 6-2 last week was the scoreline here after Freiburg went 2-0 up. Bayern winning by 6-2. Here come St. Pauli. They've got a little bit of space in their own half, and they venture forward.
Oh, what a pass!
Ball.
Could this get to? But no, Jonathan Tah is able to pass it back to Neuer with a slightly unconvincing...
Yeah, good run though by Arkadiusz Pyrka, the Polish right wing back. Opportunity here, it falls to Pyrka once more. Pyrka!
On the half volley, snapshot, just
sails past the goalpost there. So,
bit of intent there shown from St. Pauli. Good to see.
Not bad at all. And as you know, we like to keep informing you about the African players in the Bundesliga. There are a few in the St. Pauli squad. They're not on the pitch, but they're still very much part of St. Pauli. Dapo Afolayan, born in London, of Nigerian heritage. He's on the bench. He can play for Nigeria if he wants, as Bayern break forward. And surely that was played back to the goalkeeper there.
No, I think what
happened,
Luis Diaz took a bit of a tumble there and he accidentally passed the ball forward to the goalkeeper.
And alongside Dapo Afolayan is Romeo Aikbekan, born near Cologne in Germany. He holds German nationality, but his background also includes Nigerian roots, Afolayan. And Abdoulaye Cisse, he's Gambian. He was born in Gambia and he plays for the Gambia national team, Abdoulaye Cisse. And, of course, the man who scored for St. Pauli today, Andreas Huntonji, born in France to a Beninese father and a French mother, and he plays for Benin at international level. So plenty of players of African descent, of course, in this St. Pauli side. And we told you about Wisdom Mike, the German-Nigerian, who's slowly breaking into the Bayern side, and Nicholas Jackson, of course, the Senegalese striker,
who's also on the bench. Perhaps we'll see him.
We might see him come on later. Exactly. The ball played out to Olise. They know where to find him, and they know he's the man who can trouble any defence. Pavlovic. The move breaks down though, and that's not very often.
So a lot of people have begun comparing Michael Olise to a more, perhaps, a more elegant version of Arjen Robben. What do you think of that, Alex?
Yeah, well, I see
certainly the way he cuts in from the right side.
He cuts in from the right side, but I think that he's an even more elegant player than Robben. But having said that, I think Robben was the more dangerous striker.
Yeah, he was such a threat through his entire...
And to make matters worse for the opposition, on the other wing, Bayern had Frank Ribéry.
Exactly.
So you had,
known as robbery, weren't they?
You had world-class strikers. Advantage rule played by the referee. Here comes Pauli, but maybe taking a little bit too much time there. Ujita doing well, clever stop on the ball, puts his foot on it, drags it back, and Jamie Sands plays it to his defender Hauke Wahl, and Eric Smith holding the fort there alongside Karel Metz for St. Pauli. They're doing okay, St. Pauli, they're doing okay.
The problem is when they go forward, they can't get the ball upfield quick enough for a...
Precisely. But they're in 16th again. They were in 14th when they were 1-0 up. Now they've slid down the table once more to 16th as Tom Bischoff lopes forward for Bayern. Here's Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz taking on the defender. Plays it back to Harry Kane. Harry Kane lays it across to Olise. Olise does well to control the ball. Olise still on the ball, slips it forward to Pavlovic. Good ball by Pavlovic. Here's Olise, plenty of space. Gets the ball across, it can afford to Tom Bischoff, who makes a complete hash of it.
He really does, poor Tom Bischoff. He was in the right position and a wonderful play by Michael Olise. I have to say, 2 changes coming in here for Bayern Munich, and one of them is Serge Gnabry coming on.
Gnabry and Stanisic are the players coming on. Leonard Karl, who has been a bit pale in this second half.
But he's been good in the first half.
He was good in the first half. He must be tired, of course, after his exertions against Arsenal in midweek. Guerrero possibly coming off. Indeed, Guerrero's coming off. And on comes Stanisic and Gnabry. Stanisic and Gnabry coming on. Now that will mean, of course, Stanisic is a right back, but he can play in the left back position too.
Yeah, so it's basically a like-for-like swap at the back. Stanisic coming in to replace Guerrero, who was playing right back there. And that would mean Serge Gnabry replacing Leonard Karl on the right wing side.
Right.
It's just quite interesting because what we see here now is Harry Kane is pretty much their number 10 here, actually. He's like he really is a number 10, even though he's a striker and also as per normal wearing the number 9 shirt. Here comes St. Pauli. Captain Irvine tries to get the ball across, but his pass ends up not going to a St. Pauli player. They win it back though to St. Pauli. Managed to make Bayern work for their yards here. See, Harry Kane is behind the halfway line, Alex. Look at this. I don't think I've seen Harry Kane come this far back this often.
Yeah, Harry Kane enjoying himself wherever he plays, as long as he plays. And if he's not injured, we'll certainly be seeing him at the World Cup. Jonathan Tah plays the ball forward to Bischoff. Bischoff told to go forward and attack a lot in the course of this second half. There's Gnabry with the first touch. Serge Gnabry will be looking for his first goal against St. Pauli. Don't forget, he scored against every other side, but not against St. Pauli. Here is Bischoff once more. Goodness me, I've lost count of the amount of times Tom Bischoff has been on the ball.
Yeah, he's been a very active player. I mean, Bayern, of course, famous for their line left backs. And, you know, there's a long lineage of that from David Alaba to Kingsley Coman as well. Lots of good attacking defenders.
Indeed. 1-1 though, the scoreline here, and that is, of course... You wouldn't tell it by the noise in the stadium.
No, certainly not, but we can tell it by the cramps that are starting to bite for the St. Pauli players. And right on cue, we do have some changes. I do believe it is Lars Ritschka who is on the floor asking to get changed because I think he's battling with cramp there.
Abdoulaye Cissé, the man from Gambia, getting ready to come on here.
And Sinani,
who came on for Andreas Sultonji, is the man coming off.
Or is he? No, he's probably just getting instructions.
He's getting instructions, fortunately for Sinani, because that is very tough on any player to be taken off after coming on. So Abdoulaye Cissé, the man from the Gambia, coming on
for Irvine, and I can only imagine Jackson
Irvine coming off.
I think this is because he's probably just coming back from injury. Took a knock earlier in the game. I think this is sort of maintenance sort of thing, but that's a tough one for them to lose their captain.
Tough one for St. Pauli to lose their captain. And Luis Oppi coming on for Lars Ritzka in the left position. That's a like-for-like swap. Luis Oppi plays very often on the left-hand side. He's on now for Lars Ritzka, who put in a lot of running. But, of course, it's tiring to play here at the Allianz Arena against Bayern Munich. But St. Pauli can be very proud of the fact that they're holding the champions. It's still 1-1 here on match day 12 of the Football Bundesliga. All the action coming to you, as usual, from DW Radio.
And just a reminder to all our listeners from across the African continent, so wonderful to have your company as we cover the Bundesliga every Saturday when there's a Bundesliga match on right here on DW across East, West and Southern Africa.
Absolutely. Werder Bremen, they're still 1-0 up against FC Köln.
Oh, danger as Ulisse floats another teasing cross in, but Luis Diaz is unable to get on the end of that.
Union Berlin 1-0 up against Heidenheim, and Union Berlin, I think they're still on the high after that 2-2 draw with Bayern.
Yeah.
And Heidenheim are the only Bundesliga team yet to pick up a point away from home, and Frank Schmidt's side still without a win since late September. Heidenheim bottom of the table, 3 points from safety, and quite frankly, I can't see them surviving Heidenheim. 3 consecutive seasons in the Bundesliga, of course.
Which is an overachievement for them, actually.
For a tiny club like that.
Quite surprising.
They've got the smallest club in the Bundesliga, smallest stadium in the Bundesliga, 15,000 only. That's 15,000, the Voigt Arena. And quite a few players of African descent at Union Berlin. Stanley Nzoki, he's French-Congolese. Derek Kern, he's German-Ghanaian. Oluwaseun Ogbemudia, he's German-Nigerian. And a player who's been making a name for himself, of course, is Ilyas Ansah. He's a German-Ghanaian. He's been banging in the goals. And, of course, Heidenheim, they've got 2 players of African descent. Omar Traore, he's German-Togolese. And Sir Lord Conte, German-Ghanaian.
Oh, danger! No, Harry Kane is unable to get on the end of that one.
Conte was one of the fastest players in the Bundesliga till the record was broken by a player of Eintracht Frankfurt. Here come St. Pauli. I almost said Union Berlin.
They're not on this pitch, Alex.
No, because I keep thinking that it was Union Berlin who started Bayern's downfall. Here's Harry Kane.
Oh, what an excellent block there.
Very good block there.
Excellent commitment there by the defense. It was, in the end, it was actually Pirka coming in across to make the meaningful block on Harry Kane's shot there.
St. Pauli, they're going to start to tire, and this is where Bayern going to get the goals. It's a good corner coming across, headed away strongly though.
Well, very strongly, in fact. It goes all the way out. That's a really good defensive header now.
Picked up by Olise, teasing the defenders, cuts inside Olise, plays it back to Serge Gnabry. Gnabry finds Min-Jae Kim. Min-Jae Kim on the ball. They're all in the St. Pauli half. Here is Pavlovic. Pavlovic finds Luis Diaz. He finds Bischoff. Bischoff plays the ball across to Stanisic. Bischoff, Diaz, Stanisic. This is where St. Pauli have to remain really concentrated and try and push. Well, they're trying the press, and they're not doing badly at all.
The problem with a player with Ulisse coming onto the pitch is what makes him quite difficult. Like other than someone like Luis Diaz, you almost see that Ulisse is almost asking defenders to come and try and attack him, and then he is able to maneuver past them. He almost invites the tackle, whereas Luis Diaz really just runs at you.
Yeah.
And
very brave player, Luis Diaz.
Yeah.
Manuel Neuer out of his goal, as he did against Arsenal. This is Joshua Kimmich. Here's Pavlovic. tries to find Bischoff. Well, Bischoff, of course, his experience maybe not enough to handle this Bayern Munich high-pressing side. Now, of course, he might go and score the winner. You never know after me saying that. Pavlovic plays the ball forward, and St. Pauli putting up
look at that.
a heroic resistance there. Heroic resistance by the team from Hamburg. And Manuel Neuer starts yet another Bayern Munich attack. This is Jonathan Tah, plays the ball to his right. Here's Joshua Kimmich. Kimmich on the ball, turns, checks, still debating where to pass the ball to Joshua Kimmich, the man with the most touches in the Bundesliga. Here is Pavlovic, plays it out to his right to Luis Diaz. Cuts in once more, predictably. Luis Diaz still on the ball, cuts inside, lays it across. Here come Bayern. Here's Olise on the other wing. Olise taking on quite a few defenders, cuts inside, tries to slip it through, but
yeah, it all goes all the way, it trickles all the way through to Nikola Silj.
Josef Stanisic not on the same page as Olise there.
No, not quite. Here was the shot from Kane earlier, and you can see just the passion.
Yeah, what a block that was. Absolutely.
Because Kane was away on goal, and he pulled the trigger, and then the block came in to...
Brilliant block by Pirka. Arkadiusz Pirka, the Polish wing-back there. Sensational block. And we've got to say, it's been great defending from St. Pauli. It's been brave, it's been concentrated, it's been serious. However the game finishes. Here's Stanisic. Stanisic lays the ball back to Olise. Olise on the edge of the penalty area. Olise plays the ball back. He's certainly beginning to make a difference since coming on, Olise.
Yeah, he's also he's got this element to his game that makes him so horrible to play against, because you either try and tackle him and get the ball, but he'll either go around you or he'll slip a cheeky pass that opens up an entire defense. Not many players can do that, Alex.
I was amazed how quiet he was kept at the Emirates the other night. Miles Lewis Skelly, the youngster, in the left-back position. I was just wondering if he's experienced enough, but he stuck very close to Olise.
He was very good, you're right.
And then when, of course, Riccardo Calafiori came on, Olise had to track back and try and defend because Calafiori is so good at coming up, strong runs going forward.
At joining the attack, exactly.
And it was Calafiori who got the cross in for Arsenal to get the second goal to put them 2-1 up, where Noni Madueke scored. So Olise not shining that night, but he's certainly shining today.
Now, Calafiori is someone we'd all love to see at the World Cup, but we might not, and not because he won't make the team, more that his Italy side might not make the World Cup.
They face Northern Ireland in one of the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's going to be...
Alex, if Italy don't make the World Cup, it'll be the third World Cup they've missed.
But I'm sure they'll make it this time.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
No, Italy, of course, being one of the giants of
a
football.
World Cup without Italy isn't a World Cup, is it?
Well, they've done all they can to almost avoid it.
I mean, when you think the last time they were at the World Cup was in 2006 in Germany.
Yeah.
When they beat Germany. German football fans remember that very painful
they were
2-0 defeat in Dortmund in the semi-final when Italy beat them 2-0 with a goal in the 118th and in the 120th minute.
True.
What a game that was.
True, but they were also at the World Cup in Brazil, and I remember that because they put England to the sword there with Mario Balotelli in the group stage of the World Cup 2014. But they certainly didn't make the World Cup in Russia, and they didn't make the World Cup in Qatar either.
Amazing. Here comes Harry Kane. Bit slow there, Harry Kane, and the ball beaten down. Well, Kai...
Well, it's the 76th minute,
76th minute, and Leon Goretzka getting ready to come on. He's the tough guy. Min-jae Kim coming off, so that means he's sacrificing a defender, Company, and on comes Leon Goretzka for Min-jae Kim, the number 8 on his back, the former Schalke player, the former Bochum player, Leon Goretzka, one of the veterans in this Bayern Munich side, and let's see what he can bring. Plenty of physicality, I can be sure of that. Well, he's the player who I said should have played against Arsenal.
Yeah.
To match the physicality of Declan Rice on the night.
Yeah, Declan Rice is also a very good player, though.
Yeah, and I
Very,
actually
yeah,
read today that he almost signed for Bayern. He almost came.
Imagine that.
He almost came to Bayern when he was still on West Ham's books. Bayern were actually very close to signing Declan Rice, but they just paid 100 million for Harry Kane, and they couldn't pay another 100 million for Declan Rice, and that's the amount that West Ham United were asking for.
This is a foul on Olise, and Olise quite rightly getting the free kick in a very dangerous position.
Yeah, Louis Oppi giving away a sloppy free kick there. Fujita and Sinani trying to form a wall, and Nikola Vasili, the goalkeeper of St. Pauli, the Bosnian, trying to direct his three-man wall.
It's going to be Kimmich taking this. No left footers on this team. No, maybe Olise might.
Now Harry Kane standing in an offside position, and that is intentional. Well, that was a push surely by Harry Kane, and it's a free kick, says Felix Zweier, quite rightly.
And it's the stand-in captain who goes down.
Yeah, Eric Smith, the stand-in captain for St. Pauli. We're approaching the 80th minute, Kai.
Well,
and let me remind our listeners, it's still 1-1, would you believe?
It is still 1-1. And scores across the other Bundesliga matches have also not changed, Alex.
Okay, so that means Werder Bremen still 1-0 up against Cologne, and Union 1-0 up against Heidenheim. Hoffenheim cruising 3-0 up against Augsburg, which is very good news for Hoffenheim, because they're certainly looking a good bet for Champions League football. Would you believe, little Hoffenheim? And that wouldn't be the first time.
Wouldn't be the first time either, no.
I remember them facing Liverpool in the playoffs a few seasons ago. So, let's wait and see what happens. Hoffenheim, Augsburg there. Kevin Akpobuma, of course, he's a German-Nigerian for Hoffenheim. And we mustn't forget the veteran Ilas Bebu. Here come Bayern Munich.
Dangerous.
Out comes the keeper, very good. Ilas Bebu, the Togolese striker. Hoffenheim have got David Mokwa, he's French-Cameroonian, and the man who scored, Banzumana Touré, he's Ivorian, and one of the stars of the Bundesliga season till now, Banzumana Touré, the young Ivorian. And it's the corner to Bayern Munich, going to be taken by Michael Olise on that far side. That's the Bayern right. In he comes, and it evades everybody.
It evades everybody, including Kane, who was just slightly wrong-footed by a defensive header here by, I think it was Cisse, I believe, who managed to get his head on the ball. No, not quite. Oh, it was...
Did it evade everybody?
It was Pirka who managed to get the defensive header.
Indeed. Corner from the other side. It's going to be taken by Josper Kimmich, and they're going to look for Harry Kane. He's not scored today, amazingly. He wants to add to those 14 goals.
Oh, and somehow the ball stays out of the goal. It hits the woodwork again.
One-way traffic here.
And I'm actually surprised that didn't go. It was Serge Gnabry.
Serge Gnabry trying to get the ball pop over the crossline there, over the goal line.
But I'm surprised there wasn't a foul called, because the keeper, Nikola Vasilj, was actually pushed there, so I'm surprised that didn't get blown. But another corner to Bayern Munich.
From the left-hand side, it's going to be Josper Kimmich. He raises both arms just before he takes the corner, and they're usually good corners. It's a high one. Harry Kane tries to head it across the face of the goal.
Good play by Cisse. Knocks it right out of play.
Heads it way out into touch, and Bayern Munich, well, they've got 9 minutes of normal time remaining to beat St. Pauli, and who would have thought we'd be saying that, Kai, at the beginning of the game?
Well, Alex, would you like to guess how many shots on target Bayern have had in this game?
I've no idea.
They've had one shot on target the whole game. They've had 12 off target. Okay, 3 of them hit the post.
Yeah.
But you know, they've had as many shots on goal as St. Pauli have had.
So they've hit the post 3 times, which is must be some kind of a record. Some kind of a record. Olise once more teasing the defender, taking on.
Oh, and he gets
Oppi.
stopped in his tracks.
Good defending by Oppi, and that was a heavy challenge. And it's a free kick to St. Pauli, says Felix Zweier. It's going to be a yellow card for the Bayern player, I think.
Jonathan
Tah.
Although, looking back on it with the benefit of replay, I would say that this was an unlucky 50-50 challenge, but no complaints from Jonathan Tah.
whistles all around the stadium. Jonathan Tah's the first Bayern Munich player to go into the books. It's been...
Again, well, okay, yes, on this angle you see he's probably lucky he didn't get worse there, did Jonathan Tah, because it was a studs-up challenge. But again, you see the passion from the St. Pauli players really trying to get their feet on every single ball. And we're getting another change, Alex.
Nicholas Jackson coming on, the Senegalese striker. Off comes
Pavlovic
for the Senegalese striker. Nicholas Jackson on loan from Chelsea and enjoying his time here at Bayern. And he's rather cruelly just been given 8 minutes to try and prove his worth there.
Well, Alex, I think this is quite a quite a good sign for if you're a St. Pauli fan, that Vincent Kompany has really put all his attacking players on the pitch, trying to get a winner here.
They've got to take that as a compliment, St. Pauli.
Yeah. See, it was Kane. How did he miss
Kane
from
hit the
that?
post a few moments ago.
But how did he miss it from there?
Yeah, it was a very tight position.
Yeah.
I think that's why. Well, Bayern under 7 minutes to beat St. Pauli. Long ball comes in. Bayern Munich have got a difficult game coming up in midweek in the German Cup.
That's true.
They face Union Berlin.
A team that the only team they've dropped points to.
Yeah, 2-2 that finish. Will St. Pauli be the second side that Bayern drop points to? We'll just have to wait and see.
Look at this shot in the replay. Kane, how did you miss that? That's very uncharacteristic of Harry Kane to not score from those, but maybe Lady Luck is on the side of St. Pauli, or that goal note is charmed. I don't know what Nikola Visilj, what magic charms he is using on the goal frames, but
maybe he's just a good goalkeeper.
I'd say that, but he's actually not had that much to do.
Yeah,
he's not
amazing thing to say when the opposition are Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
but they'll keep trying and trying and trying.
And it's no disrespect to him at all, because he's been really good at catching the corners and the crosses, but he's not actually had to make too many saves as such.
And good effort there. Serge Gnabry wants to score against St. Pauli, but he shoots over the crossbar there. You know what, Kai? Come to think of it, Leipzig, who are hot on Bayern's tails, they'd be really annoyed that they could only draw
against Mönchengladbach.
0-0 against Mönchengladbach.
I agree with you on that. However, we have to remember that Mönchengladbach, for the last 4 games, have actually been very good.
They're coming up the table.
They've steamed up the table. They've scored lots of goals.
Eugen Polanski doing very well. And yet another substitution here.
And another Aussie.
St. Pauli. Is it Conor Metcalf?
I believe it is. Conor Metcalf.
And another St. Pauli player on the ground there.
Bayern players remonstrating with him and telling him to move, but I think I don't know what they're worried about, the Bayern Munich players, because any minute will be used to actually they will be played afterwards.
Pereira large taking a knock there from Nicholas Jackson. Nicholas Jackson tells him to get up and hurry up.
Get off the pitch. We're in the 86th minute, Alex.
Nicholas Jackson looking for his 3rd Bundesliga goal. Can he do it? On comes
Metcalf. Conor Metcalf, for another Australian on the pitch. He comes on, I believe, for Lage. Lage's night is done.
Well, St. Pauli, one of the conundrums of the Bundesliga. How can they be holding Bayern Munich here 1-1 at the Allianz? This, for me, is...
Well, there's still 3 minutes plus.
Still 3 minutes. We know Bayern like to score late. We'll just have to wait and see if Conor Metcalf and company can keep Bayern at bay in added time, because that is where we're heading very soon. Conor Metcalf.
Stanisic. Goretzka. All the way to Olise, who was unable to get on the end of that.
Clever back heel there by Kimmich. Or it wasn't, because Fujita picks it up there.
But can Cisse hold the ball up? Sort of. No, he can't.
He can't. Goes out for a throw. Taken quickly by Tom Bischoff. He finds Josep Stanisic, the Croatian. He plays it to his right, to Jonathan Tah in the centre circle. Slips it forward to Olise. Well, This is a bit of a roundabout way for Bayern. Here's Goretzka, picks the ball up, finds Stanisic. There's Luis Diaz, who's been relatively pale, considering he was fresh, and an opportunity for Pauli to go forward.
They do as well.
Fujita plays the ball forward to Cisse. That was a poor pass. And
all 11 men in black are all behind the ball here, unsurprisingly for Pauli.
Kai, if this finishes 1-1, it'll be the surprise result of the Bundesliga season so far.
I think it would be up there, that's for sure. Maybe as surprising as Pauli's opening day draw against Dortmund, though. When
Dortmund,
they drew
3-3.
That was a great game.
What a game that was. Dortmund were 3-1 up, but then Pauli came back to get a 3-3 draw.
Ooh, stuff just not clicking for Bayern Munich. Nicholas Jackson, a wayward pass.
Was it Jackson's pass?
I believe it was. It was aimed at Elise. Elise did not get the ball. And Pauli understandably taking their time with a throw-in. It is a defensive throw-in. And they probably just want the ball anywhere but in their own box. And that they sort of manage. Metcalf able to knock it forward.
The ball picked up by Bayern. One last throw of the dice. Although you never say that till the final minute. Here's Jackson stretching there. And it's picked up by Pauli. Jackson chasing Fujita there. Fujita on the ball.
Oh,
opportunity here, would you believe, for Pauli? And the effort goes way over the crossbar there. By Luis Oppi. Strong run. And he's got to challenge all the way back now because Harry Kane's picked up the ball. In the dying moments of match day 12, here, the Bundesliga coming to you from DW Radio. It's 1-1 at the Allianz Arena.
Well, Alex, what we really want to know now is how much added time there'll be, because we're out 90 minutes.
Nicholas Jackson moving into the box there. They've got to try and find him because I don't think he's been getting enough service, Nicholas Jackson.
He hasn't actually touched the ball at all in the box so far as I can tell.
Yeah, it's because they don't play the ball to him. They're just not geared to find Nicholas Jackson. And he needs a lot more service. A lot more service. Here comes Gnabry, cuts inside. Gnabry plays the ball into the penalty area. It's picked up once more.
Now the announcement for added time. How many minutes do Pauli need to hold out here for?
Jackson doing well. Plays the ball back to Tar. And Pauli standing firm.
Oh, good job. Oh, and a problem
opportunity
here
for Cisse. That was a bad slip by Stanisic. Cisse on his own. Can he beat the defender? Is there anybody in support? And he's forced just to take a wayward shot. It comes
but he
off.
wins a throw in a good position.
Pauli. 6 minutes of added time, Kai.
That's a lot longer than Pauli would have wanted. But here come the you can really see the Bayern players are frustrated. I have to be honest with you. Cisse does a good job there to try and hold the ball up, and the poor Pauli players, they're dead on their feet, but they're trying to just keep the ball out of harm's way. They've taken it to the corner.
Who's your money on, Kai?
Oof, I don't know, Alex. I'm too nervous at this point to make a call.
5.5 minutes remaining for Pauli to get a sensational draw at the Allianz Arena against Bayern Munich, the strongest team in the land. Here comes Joshua Kimmich with a rather nervous look on his face. He'll know that this result will start tongues wagging. It can happen, of course.
Well, Alex, I know we've got a very exciting match on our hands here, but also in the 90th minute, Cologne have equalized, and so have Heidenheim.
Well,
in their matches.
Lucky goal for Cologne there, and it's the whiz kid Said El Mala who scores in the 91st minute, would you believe?
El Maladona.
El Maladona. He's of Lebanese heritage, and Germany actually thinking of taking him to the World Cup too. Here comes Tom Bischoff. Bischoff plays the ball in, cleared desperately by Pauli.
Oh, good job there. They managed to clear the ball out just to the halfway line, but another relentless attack begins again.
Stanisic plays the ball across, and well, that was some equaliser by El Mala there for Cologne, and he's a player that we really want. And Heidenheim, as you said, Kai, getting the equaliser. Union Berlin, Schimmer the scorer there. 1-1 between Union Berlin and Heidenheim. That, of course, would be a surprise point too for the bottom club. But Jonathan Tar's on the ball, slips the ball forward to Gnabry.
We've still got about 4 minutes here, Alex.
Gnabry plays the ball forward to Goretzka. Goretzka out to the wing. That's Joshua Kimmich. Oh, it is so cruel. It is so cruel. It is so cruel because Luis Diaz has scored for Bayern in the 92nd minute. We told you, Bayern scoring added time. I think it's Luis Diaz. Was it Luis Diaz? Oh my goodness me. How cruel can life be on St. Pauli?
That is so cruel. You see the look on Coach Alexander Blessin's face of poor St. Pauli. They have defended so valiantly, and then it's just a very good cross that comes in all the way. They don't manage to pick up Luis Diaz coming in. He has no one on him.
Dear. You have to suffer with St. Pauli. You have to feel for them. Haukeval missing his header completely there, the former Holstein Kiel player. And in comes Luis Diaz. A bit of head and a bit of shoulder. In it went, off his shoulder more than the side of his face, I'd even say.
Yeah.
And Vasily with a wry smile, and Uli Hoeneß and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge celebrating that goal. A wry smile with a sense of, we've seen it all before. We knew it could happen. We knew it was going to happen. Bayern 2, St. Pauli 1.
Oh, well. That is cruel. They say football is cruel, but St. Pauli have just found out just how cruel it can be again. To go down, they've played so well, actually, have St. Pauli, but to lose a goal just like that in the 93rd minute, 94th minute of added time, Alex.
It is amazing. But
they win a corner, though, to St. Pauli. They're not quite done. I like this.
Not quite done. 7th goal of the season for Luis Diaz. Goal probability 38%. 90th minute, he puts Bayern 2-1 up, but St. Pauli from Hamburg, they've got a corner. And they're all moving up for this one. This is a cruel, cruel twist for St. Pauli if they don't get the equaliser here.
They've even brought up the keeper, Alex.
Yes, they've got nothing to lose. Vasily coming up for this one. In comes the corner.
It's a good
Headed
one.
away, though, by Jonathan Tah. And
Vasily will have to move because he's way out of his box. And if
he's out of his box, but Oppi doing well. Oppi doing very well there. And, well, we could, of course, pardon Bayern and excuse them for not being at their sharpest best. They must be really tired from that Arsenal game in midweek. What do you think?
That's true.
Could that be a reason?
That's true, but they do have the firepower and the players to rotate their squad here.
It's not been vintage Bayern. I think we can all agree on that.
And the flags are waving. They weren't waving a minute or two ago, though, were they, Alex?
Would you believe, Kai, Heidenheim have taken the lead at Union Berlin. It is Union Berlin 1, Heidenheim 2, and Jan Schöppner, the scorer there. Quite amazing turnaround.
Oh dear, problems here.
Oh, it's going to be a goal for Nicholas Jackson. He's walking through alone, and Nicholas Jackson scores his 3rd Bundesliga goal. And it's not been a difficult one, but he kept his nerve. And is it going to be offside?
Is it offside?
No, the flag remains down. It was a poor back pass.
Yeah, but was this a pass?
Gnabry did challenged the St. Pauli player. The ball fell to Nicholas Jackson. It was a one-on-one, and he did very well to slip it past Vasily there. Nicholas Jackson scores. No, I don't think it was a foul there on James Sand. On Eric Smith.
I'd be surprised if they called that back.
Yeah. And Nicholas Jackson makes it 3-1, game over now for sure.
Yeah, Nicholas Jackson celebrating by saying it's all
bedtime.
Bedtime.
Are they going to disallow the goal?
Not too sure. The fans don't seem to like it.
Well, that will be cruel for Nicholas Jackson. Surely that wasn't a foul by Gnabry.
Well, it certainly wasn't offside.
No, it wasn't offside.
So was this a foul here?
Not really. I mean, come on. Gnabry going in there on Smith.
Smith belatedly tries to get position on get position on Nabry, and the referee didn't even call that, so I can't.
Well taken goal, whatever the outcome. I think
decision. Now.
Oh, they're going to look at the monitor. Listen, they should have just allowed the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the final seconds.
Yeah, we're in the 7th minute of.
Wurde hinsichtlich einer wirklichen Abseitsposition überprüft. Nach Prüfung der Videobilder ist klar, dass der Ball nicht vom angreifenden Spieler, sondern vom Verteidiger gespielt wurde. Das Tor ist korrekt.
Okay, the goal stands. Nicholas Jackson's goal stands, and he's mocked by his teammates. 3-1 Bayern, and that goal will do Nicholas Jackson a world of good. Good to see the Senegalese striker among the goal scorers there. 3-1, a goal too many, maybe.
Yeah.
4. St. Pauli.
Very cool for St. Pauli. The scoreline does not reflect how well St. Pauli played.
They were so close, Kai. There goes the final whistle. They were so close to coming away with a point. No,
they're just going to kick off.
They're going to kick off again for a few final seconds here, and we just.
The referee will let them play on a bit.
Yeah, because of that
delay.
VAR decision, that delay.
Yeah, it's been a funny game, Alex, I have to say. Wow. For so long it looked like Bayern might drop points for just the second time of the season, but they end up with, well, what looks like a routine 3-1 victory here, but it certainly was not routine.
It certainly wasn't. And the supporters celebrating Nicholas Jackson's goal. Jackson is the try around the Allianz. Jackson, the man who got the 3rd goal. There goes the final whistle.
Wow.
3-1 to Bayern, but it could easily have been 1-1 after a very good performance by St. Pauli. The result doesn't reflect the amount of fight they put in. Jackson having a word where with Cisse, the Senegalese of the Gambian striker.
And they decide to swap shirts again later on.
Deciding to swap shirts. Well, it's been a very unusual game, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a very fascinating game. I did not expect Bayern to battle this much against St. Pauli. St. Pauli brought it. They did their best. They scored. They defended like titans, but were ultimately unable to mark Luis Diaz, who just managed to sneak in behind and able to get the winner. The goal from Nicholas Jackson was just a sort of an extra bonus for Bayern, but I don't know if they quite deserve to run out 3-1 winners there. If I'm honest.
3-1 it doesn't reflect. I mean, if you haven't seen the game and you see the scoreline 3-1, it doesn't tell you how much St. Pauli performed and how well
and
they
how close
did.
Bayern were to not getting this on. But you could see Alexander Blessing, coach of the St. Pauli players, really, I don't think he'll have anything negative to say about his team. They really did.
They did him proud. They did him really proud. Bayern 3-1 victors over St. Pauli, but they certainly made them fight for that victory.
Yeah.
Bayern now on 34 points at the top of the Bundesliga. They are 6 points ahead of RB Leipzig, who could only draw last night, 0-0 in Mönchengladbach. Leverkusen in 3rd, and they play tonight, of course, against Borussia Dortmund. Hoffenheim in 4th, marching up the table, Hoffenheim. Dortmund slipping down to 5th, but of course they play in a few minutes' time. And let's take a look at the bottom of the table. Heidenheim, would you believe, Kai? We've been saying that they are destined to go down.
Well, not on today's performance.
Not on today's performance. They won in the last minute, and they shoot up from 18th to 16th. The relegation playoff place is theirs. They are in 16th on 8 points. St. Pauli slipping below Heidenheim in the relegation spot.
Very much so, yeah.
And Mainz now at the bottom of the Bundesliga. They are on 6 points. Things looking very difficult for Mainz this season. And who would have thought so? Because they've never really struggled against the drop. Mainz, and they lost their Europa League game. No, actually, it was the Conference League.
It was
wasn't
Conference League game, yeah.
They lost it by 1-0 against Craiova. Now, Mainz have got a slight problem in a player called Dominic Kor, and he's a bit of the bad boy of the Bundesliga. He's had 9 red cards in his career, and he was sent off for a pretty serious foul last week against Hoffenheim, and it's his 9th red card. And Dominic Kor, of course, criticised by some opposing players, and a lot of people were expecting a very long ban, but the DFL have only given him a 3-match ban there, Dominic Kor. So he's off. He can't. Mainz, who travelled to Freiburg tomorrow, they're without Dominic Kor for his record 9 red cards.
That's a lot of red cards.
That's a lot of red cards. Eintracht Frankfurt, they play Wolves, Wolfsburg, and Hamburg, the other team from the city where St. Pauli come from. They play Stuttgart. What a game that's going to be.
Yeah.
Hamburg against Stuttgart. But Hamburg, we have to say, struggling badly this season. And
they also had a promising start to the season, but they've since tapered off a bit, to be fair.
14th, and they're just 1 point off the relegation playoff place. Proudly occupied by Heidenheim this evening. And let's see what happens. Kai, what have you got in store for us for the late kickoff?
Well, we've got a big game, but we do have the big game coming up between Dortmund and Leverkusen. But before we talk a bit more about that, we just need to talk quickly about the quarterfinals of the German Cup, which, as you mentioned, are playing this week, because this match between Dortmund and Leverkusen is actually going to be a repeat, believe it or not, because Dortmund play Leverkusen in the German Cup on Tuesday as well as tonight, so they'll be very familiar with each other. But looking ahead, Alex, we've got some interesting matches. St. Pauli play Mönchengladbach in the German Cup. Hertha BSC play Kaiserslautern. That's a second division clash. RB Leipzig play against Magdeburg. You'd back Leipzig to win that. Bochum, who we had in the Bundesliga for many, many years, also going to play against Stuttgart. Freiburg take on Darmstadt. Union Berlin, as you mentioned earlier, will take on Bayern, but this time again at home. And Hamburg taking on Holstein Kiel in a very much northern derby over there. So those are the matches for the German Cup that we'll have in midweek, Alex. And of course, we also have the game coming up tonight between Leverkusen and Dortmund. That's become a bit of a regional rivalry. And in preparation from that, we got some sound bites from coach Kaspar Hullmann from Leverkusen.
We take it one game at a time now. It's not, the next ones are not Champions League. It's 2 very difficult games. First in Bundesliga against Dortmund, and then 3 days later in the Cup also against Dortmund. So we take it game by game.
Well, that is Hullmann, who's been doing very well in charge of his side, Bayer Leverkusen. And let me just tell you that Leverkusen got the 2-0 surprise victory at Manchester City in the Champions League.
What a game that was, yeah.
After 10 surprise changes by Pep Guardiola, he changed 10 of his side, left Haaland on the bench and Donnarumma, much to the amazement of Leverkusen, it has to be said there.
Yeah, certainly, and it ended up paying dividends for Leverkusen, to be honest. They played a really good road match and ended up winning that 2-0. And I think we were discussing earlier what kind of a message that sends from Pep Guardiola, who should actually know better, having coached in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, you can't make 10 changes. That was really ridiculous. Well, plenty of African players on Leverkusen's books. They've got Ernest Poko, he's Dutch-Ghanaian. Christian Kofane, who's making a name for himself, he's Cameroonian. Edmund Tapsoba, everybody knows him, he's from Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Mazza, he's Algerian. Nathan Teller, he's English-Nigerian. Timothy Menza, he's Dutch-Ghanaian. Elizen Benzagir, he's French-Moroccan. Ken Izakor, he's German-Nigerian. And Axel Tapé, he's French-Ivorian, a former PSG player. So plenty of players there from African descent.
Yeah, and this match that is going to happen this evening, Leverkusen versus Dortmund, being played at the Bayer Arena. Very exciting game there, because at the beginning of the season we were talking about how much Leverkusen was struggling. Well, they've turned that around, Alex, haven't they not? They've until They are third in the Bundesliga. They steamed up the table. They've actually overtaken Dortmund, who we always kind of think are going to be the rivals of Bayern challenging for the top. But Dortmund are languishing in fifth position.
In fifth, would you believe?
12 points already behind Bayern Munich.
And they've got plenty of players of African descent. Seo Girassi, of course, who was amongst the goals in midweek against Villarreal twice. Benzi Baini, the Algerian. Almughera Kabak, he's Libyan. Kani Chukwuemeka, he's English-Nigerian. Felix Mnecha, he's German-Nigerian. Karim Adeyemi, of course, he's German-Nigerian. Julien Duranville, he's Belgian-Congolese. And Philippe Manet, Italian-Senegalese. That is in the squad.
And we just got the lineups for the game. Dortmund have got Gregor Kobel in goal, Anton Waldemar, Nico Schlotterbeck, Daniel Svensson, Julian Ryerson and Anselmino in the back. Then we've got Mecha, Brandt, Zabitzer and Gurassi and Adeyemi up front.
Well, thanks for listening to our exciting game. We hope you enjoyed it. It was Bayern Munich against St. Pauli. 3-1 the final score there. I'm Alex Sisto. Thanks for joining us.
And me, Kai Nebe. It's been such a pleasure having you. Wishing you all the best. Till next time.
DW. Made for minds.
DW, learning by ear. Listen up. Shape your future.
Hello there and welcome to another exciting episode of our Crime Fighters series, Uneasy Choices. Last time, the Magara police arrested a young boy named Bege who could be linked to Hajara's death. The youngster claimed his brother had showed up with Hajara shortly before her death, but he insisted he didn't know where his brother was now or what had happened to Hajara. She had been held captive in a hideout belonging to Bege's brother and his friends. Elsewhere, the mayor has restricted people's movements in town and declared a ban on public gatherings. He's desperate to stop the opposition holding a rally that could expose his and Bubakar's dirty deals. He's also trying to scare people with threats of arrest and imprisonment if they defy the new rule. Meanwhile, the cholera outbreak is spreading. Dr. Arif, Karima and Sabitu are spending most of their time at the hospital now helping the medical staff. They're also waiting for Bubakar to give them an explanation of why he apparently ordered the wrong medical supplies. Karima and Sabitu have finally made a decision about what to do with their friend Hajara's diary. This episode is entitled It Isn't Over Until It's Over.
Karima and Sabitu.
Good evening,
Hello.
ma'am.
It's so good to see you. It's been a while. I knew you must be very busy at that community health center of yours.
Yes, we've been extremely busy, especially now with the cholera outbreak. And with all the mayor's new restrictions, it's not easy to move from A to B.
I know. Come inside. Don't stay out in the rain.
Thank you.
I've just finished making dinner. We can all eat together. You like beans, don't you?
Yes, of course. I'm quite hungry, to be honest.
Thank you, Mrs. Baba. It's very nice of you.
Come with me to the living room. Hajara's father is here.
Karima, Sabitu, welcome. It's really good to see you. This reminds us of happy times with you and our daughter Hajara. God rest her soul. Please, have a seat.
Thank you. How are you holding up, Mr. Baba?
It's hard on all of us.
It is indeed. And the police investigation is so slow. It makes it even more upsetting.
At least they finally made an arrest, though they haven't told us much about it yet.
I'm sure they'll catch whoever's responsible.
So.
Mm-hmm. Karima, you look so thin nowadays. I'm going to give you some extra beans. You have to eat, my child.
Thank you, Mrs. Baba, but I'm not hungry.
Nonsense. Don't be shy. We're all family here.
Actually, there's something we wanted to tell you first.
What? What's happened? Is something the matter with either of you?
No, don't worry about us. We're fine. The thing is, we found Hajara's diary at the office. We thought you should have it.
Oh, how kind of you to bring it to us.
We read it.
Yes, but only because we thought there might be something in it that will help the investigation.
Well?
Did you find anything?
Yes. Something quite important and shocking, actually. There are